guys, welcome back. Hey guys, welcome back into the Beach Ball pregame show. I'm Joey Miller, alongside me Jesse Cook, and the first half concluded on Sunday. The second half kicked off on Tuesday night, where the Oakland Ballers fell to the Long Beach Coast in quite an amazing offensive show out to start that second half. 12-4 was the final score, but the Long Beach Coast took a while to get things going. 11 runs in their final 3 offensive frames. It was a little slow at the start, though.
Absolutely. It took until the third inning to even score a run. Eddie Pelk doubling home Anthony Mata. But even after that, the team really didn't even threaten against Oakland. It's just that once that 6th inning rolled around and Emilio Corona hit the 2-out, 2-strike, go-ahead homer, that's when things steamrolled for Long Beach.
There was an inning where they scored 4 runs, an inning where they scored 5 runs, and an inning where they scored 2 runs at the back half of the game, most of which came after the starter, Charlie Hurley, left the game. He still ended up with the loss and 5 of those runs on his ticket. But the goal is to try and charge ahead early. This is where Long Beach has a lot more success. Only 3 losses when Long Beach scores first. They did technically last night, but those big rallies where they batted around for the second time here at Blair Field, they batted around in one of those big scoring innings. People like Jacob Jablonski, who we have here on this lovely magazine. He signed it for us for our press box, as well as another contributor. I'll fix that later. Another contributor is Emilio Corona, who you mentioned, got the go-ahead home run. 2 runs on that home run, 3 on the night. He has had back-to-back 3 RBI games. In the past 4 games, he has had 8 RBI. He has been on an absolute tear heading into the second half.
Unstoppable.
Absolutely. And Nina Corral, our sideline reporter, spoke with him right after the game. Take a look.
Hi, Coast fans. I'm here with our player of the game, Emilio Corona. Great game tonight. In the bottom of the 6th, you hit a 2-run homer that really built momentum, and for the Coast to take the lead. What were you looking for during the at-bat?
I think just staying in my plan and my process and looking for a pitch I can drive, and I was able to execute the opportunity at the plate right there.
The Coast clinched playoffs so early in the season. How does that change the team's mindset and approach heading into the final stretch?
I don't think it changes much. I mean, we still want to go out there and win as many games as we can. I think we have an importance on staying healthy, though, and that'll be big for us as the season goes on. So other than that, just keep playing our game.
Tonight was game 1 of a 3-game series against our rivals, the Oakland Ballers. How important is it to win these rivalry games heading into the postseason?
Yeah, it's always important. I think anyone that you put out in front of us, we want to show that we can put a good product on the field, and we've been able to do that this year. We'll keep it rolling.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always great to hear from Emilio Corona. What a great interview he is, just every single time.
Well, he's so enthusiastic, and conveniently we do happen to talk to him mostly after good performances, but he's had a lot of them.
Yes, and it was his dad's birthday last night, too, so happy birthday to Mr. Corona on that go-ahead home run that he got to witness. Really, really special player in center field. A really fantastic outfield for this Long Beach Coast all around. Typically, it's Eddie Pelk in left, Emilio Corona in center, and then the big 6'4" man from Fontana, California, Matthew Bardowell, who has also been really on an uphill trend. He was a little silent in the middle of last week, but then he got things going this past weekend heading into the first game of last night.
And last night was the 33rd time this season that's been your outfield combination, Pelk in left, Corona in center, Bardowell in right. It is the same today, so I'm excited to watch them work again because that's been the most consistent group of players, I think, in the Pioneer League. Bardowell with that crucial home run on Saturday. Last night, a pair of doubles, one of them a 2-run double that extended the lead after Corona's 2-run homer.
And in his past 10 at-bats, he has had 5 hits, 4 of which have been extra base hits, including a go-ahead home run last Saturday in Modesto that secured the series victory to finish out the first half. I spoke with him not too long ago and asked him what led to that success. What has been the drive heading into the second half of his first professional season? Take a listen. Here with Matthew Bardowell, who over the past 3 games has gone 5 for 10, including 4 extra base hits, 1 last night, an RBI double that scored 2 runs, leading to a big rally. What's that upward trend looking like for you? What are you changing?
Honestly, just doing less in the box, being more external, meaning like more about the game and less internal, like in my thoughts. So more so just competing and keeping it simple.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing too simple about that Bardo blast you had on Saturday night to get the go-ahead run. What were your thoughts rounding the bases there? You know, that was your 10th home run of the season, and you had 2 seasons at Cal State Fullerton, one with 8 home runs, one with 2 home runs. In your first professional season, you got 10 in the first half. How does that feel?
Yeah, that game I think it was 0 for 3 going into that last at bat, so little ticked off at myself. So maybe that helped me stay in it. But yeah, I just got a pitch that I could hit, and yeah, like you said, hit my 10th homer. Never done that before, so that's definitely a career high. And there's been a lot of career highs so far, but I just got to credit the coaching staff for helping me be free. That's really helped my performance, as well as my teammates being great teammates, some of the best guys I've been around, very uplifting and things like that. So they're making it easy.
Yeah, because you've just now finished the first half of your first professional season. You're looking back at it now. Still a long ways to go, obviously, until we get to the playoffs. What are some of your favorite moments, maybe off the field?
Honestly, the bus rides and hanging out with the guys. Like I said, we have a great group of guys that we gel really well together. If we weren't a baseball team, we could definitely just be, a group of guys hanging out. So I think that's probably been my favorite part.
Well, we love seeing you hang out with everybody out there. And, we've seen you in the outfield. You have that kind of sneaky speed. You are 6'4", you are built, and I understand that you model your game off of Aaron Judge, who is kind of similar to that, a big guy who can blast home runs, but can also get around the base paths. What do you do to work on your speed?
A lot of sprint workouts in the off season, as well as staying on top of the lifting, being strong. But definitely credit the sprint workouts as well as the plyometrics and things like that. Just at the end of the day, I am a baseball player, and that requires me to be an athlete. So just making sure I'm doing those things and not just getting stuck in the weight room.
Yeah, no, and we love seeing you become this kind of 5-tool talent. The crowd loves you. You got these nicknames, Bardo L, Bardo Blast. It's been a lot of fun watching you, but, looking ahead to the second half, what are some goals that you're going to set for yourself?
Honestly, just helping the team win, whatever that takes. We're rolling right now, and there's nothing better than winning, so whatever I got to do to make sure that the team's in position to win, that's all I'm looking forward to do.
Well, we got 11 more games this homestand, and I'm sure you're going to contribute to a lot more wins in the second half. Thank you so much, Matt.
Welcome back into Blair Field. Thanks for tuning into our beach ball pregame report. We're not far off from first pitch. Jesse Cook with you next to Joey Miller. And Joey, Long Beach has won 5 in a row, attempting for its 7th straight against the Ballers, 6th straight in all. But yesterday was a late surge that got Long Beach into the win column.
Yeah, the issue right now for the Long Beach Coast, who started off their season as a team that could get on these teams right away from the jump in those first 3 innings, have kind of transitioned into a let's get it done on the back half kind of a team. Just looking at the season in total right now, the amount of runs of the now 477 that have come around to score in the first 49 games of this season for the Coast, 168 of those, that is the majority of those runs, come in the final 3 innings. In the final 3 offensive frames last night, the Coast scored 11 of their 12 runs. If I'm a starter, I might be a little peeved at that, wanting to get that early run support. But the starter yesterday, Jack Martin, went far enough to get back-to-back wins for the first time this season. He's now 5-0.
And Long Beach has done its best damage in the late innings. The 8th inning specifically, not only has that been their best offensive inning with 71 runs scored, but it's also been one of the best defensively. The run differential is plus 41. Opponents have only scored 30 runs in the 8th inning, so something in this Long Beach bullpen combined with something extra special from the bats has combined for some very solid work.
And maybe that's something to be said about not just the closer out of the bullpen, Zach Volker or whoever they put out there, but it's also something to be said about the setup guy. And it usually flips around from Gary Grosjean as of late. Jackson Bird has been phenomenal in the setup situation. We've seen, obviously, if you look earlier in the season, Julian Hernandez was that guy. He's now with the Visalia Rawhide in single A with the Diamondbacks. But we always talk about the closer, but let's give some credit for the 7th and 8th inning for the bullpen for the Long Beach Coast. The setup guys that tend to come into the game after the starter goes 6. I'm not sure about the starter today and how much leverage he's going to be given in his second professional start, though.
Well, for Long Beach, it's Cole Percival. For Oakland, it's Hunter Day. And for Day, he walks in with a .574 earned run average across his 15 2/3 innings. Last time out in Modesto, he allowed 4 runs on 8 hits and a big win. 19-5 was the final, but he only went for 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 4 batters. As for Long Beach, it's Cole Percival, his second time starting in the Pioneer League this season. Percival, of course, a former farmhand of 5 different big league clubs, the Dodgers, Angels, Diamondbacks, Twins, and Yankees from 21 to 25, making it up to AAA. We're still waiting for these teams to run out there and take the field. We did hear the magic words of play ball, but I believe there are some antics as this is Bark in the Park night. So there may be some sets of paws joining the cleats heading onto the field. I'm not totally sure. I'm trying to stare into the dugout where it looks like a humans-only situation. But we've seen some adorable dogs around the park today.
Yeah, I think there was a golden doodle that was out on the mound for the first pitch.
Yes.
Very active and very happy breed. We're seeing, let's see how good I am at identifying dogs. Here on HTN, we're seeing, I'm not sure what that is actually.
He's a big, shaggy dog.
Yes, and a very happy one at that. It is a little humid right now, so perhaps some water is encouraged, not just for the owners or the humans in the crowd tonight, but also for our furry friends in attendance. Right now, the weather sitting at 84 degrees and sunny. The heat is ramping up here in mid-July.
That's right. There is a long line of dog bowls outside the first base side stands. Well, here come the players. Wednesday night baseball, Bark in the Park night at Blair Field, rolling into action. Long Beach looking for its 6th consecutive win, 7th against the Ballers this season in a row, already having won 10 of the initial 13 head-to-head games with Oakland. Cole Percival earns the start for Long Beach, the right-hander facing a fellow righty in Hunter Day for Oakland. The Coast wearing their home cream jerseys with the teal piping down the buttons with teal arch lettering across the chest. Black socks, teal hats with the white LBC script logo on the front. As for Oakland, they're wearing their road gray pants underneath their dark green jerseys, gold arching text across the chest with gold numbers on the back. Green socks and also the green hats with the white Bees logo on the front. For Oakland, leading off, it's Tremaine Cobb, the shortstop, followed by Isai Santos in center. Jake Allgaier is at third base. Yesterday, he faced a flurry of sharp shots defensively, but offensively, he piled on a 1-for-3 game with a sac fly in the fifth. Jaden Kalura is back behind the dish. Then it's Jeter Ibarra at first base, the team leader, the league leader in home runs with 21. Struck out his first 2 times to the plate, but followed up with an infield hit in the 6th inning, ending up 1-for-4. Ibarra followed by Noah Blythe in right field. Paul Winland, the former member of the Coast, the DH batting 7th. He pinch hit last night and ended up reaching base. Winland singling to left field in the 9th inning, but Long Beach still winning 12-4. Nick Leahy at second base batting 8th, and Miles Beal earning the start once again in left field to round things out. Joey, who's out there for Long Beach defensively?
Well, a pretty standard set in the outfield that we talked about in the Beach Ball pregame show. Eddie Pelkin left, Emilio Corona in center, Matthew Bardowell in right. Lena, Mata, Jablonski, and Vest around the horn from left to right in the infield. And David Whittle in his 3rd game played for the Long Beach Coast. It's his 2nd catching Troy Percival in a start now.
Well, the team's set to go. Whittle hanging back there behind the dish. His 2nd home start. Percival leaning in against the right-handed Tremaine Cobb. High leg kick. First pitch, fastball for a strike at 6:35 p.m. Pacific time. 84 degrees like we talked about during the Beach Ball pregame report. Underneath, unblemished blue skies. 0-1 count for Cobb. Yesterday, he sent a game-tying ground rule double in the 4th inning. Next pitch, he watches a slider sweep high and away for a 1-1 count. That ground rule double for Cobb yesterday, just a drop in the bucket. He ended up 3 for 4. Also leading off the ball game with a drawn out, with a rather quick 4-pitch walk. Percival's 1-1 from the stretch. Reaches high and outside to make it a 2-1 count. Percival in his small sample size has enjoyed an earned run average that is flapped around. It started off at 0, then up to 1350, now down to 450. Next pitch, bounce towards the mound. Percival stumbles to it, gloves it, throws on to first for out number 1. Percival's delivery ended up with him on the first base side of the mound. Kalura's grounder went towards third, and the coach's son ended up reaching back for it. Manager Troy Percival on the front step of the dugout, nodding approvingly. Now Isai Santos jogs in. He went 0 for 4 yesterday, beginning his day with a double play that perhaps set the tone for Oakland's offense in the ballgame. Righty pitching to lefty. He rears, and that splitter lands for a strike high and away. Percival rolls with a fastball, sinker, slider, changeup, and splitter rotation. The 6'5" right-hander toes the rubber, bobs a couple times. Here's his 0-1. Cut on and batted to the backstop. 0-2 count for Santos. Santos enters this ball game batting all the way up at 320. Hurt a little bit by his 0 for 4 performance yesterday, but still, anytime you're batting above 300, you've put yourself in great company. Percival's 0-2. Backdoor curve foul to the left side and out of play. Count remains 0-2 after he knocks that curving slider out of there. Percival just on the edge of the shadows, which peek across the pitching rubber, but not across the entire mound, out towards first base. His 0-2. Fastball inside and low. David Whittle immediately challenges it. However, Oakland will most likely walk away content with this one as the TrackMan ABS challenge system confirms that that is a ball. But that is impressive aggression for Whittle because the challenge system is non-existent at the college level. This is only his third professional game like we talked about. I believe that is maybe the first time he's actually initiated a challenge. 1-2 count. One away, base is empty, no score, top of the first. Percival fires. Swinging a dribbler out towards second base. Jacob Jablonski picks and throws to first for the out. 2 up, 2 down in the top of the first inning. Jake Allgaier taking the cuts now on the left side for Oakland. By the way, coming up for Long Beach, we'll flesh out the full starting lineup in the bottom of the first inning. But Eddie Pelk leading off, followed by Dylan Lena making his first start of the week at third. And Cooper Vest, the first baseman, due up third in that frame. Long Beach, I would say they've been good in the first inning, but they actually have a positive run differential in every single frame. The first inning, plus 19 on the year. Percival sets. First pitch to Allgaier, lands for a strike at the thighs for an 0-1 count. Percival dialing up to 94 miles per hour on that pitch there.
And speaking of the first inning, this is the inning that Percival allowed his only run. It was unearned, his last start.
His 0-1, the 11th pitch, fouled to the backstop. 0-2 count. That last start for Percival, his first of the year, coming against the Freebirds a week ago. Yes, that first run arrived unearned in the first inning. He only ended up tossing 4, but not bad for your first time trying to open up a ball game.
Especially where he picked himself up in those next 3 innings, not facing more than 4 batters in any of those given frames.
At the minor league level, he had 35 starts and 136 total appearances, so 101 relief outings. 0-2 pitch misses up high. It's a 1-2 count. So the starter role is still somewhat novel to Percival. He ended his minor league career in AAA with 16 relief appearances in 2025. His high leg kick dances outside and low, 2-2 count. Jake Allgaier, like we talked about yesterday, went 1 for 3 with that sacrifice fly. It came in the 5th inning, and it ultimately gave Oakland the lead after Tremaine Cobb's game-tying double before Long Beach flipped the tables and won. 2-2 pitch misses high and outside. It's a 3-2 count. Bark in the Park day here at the ballpark, and I am spotting tons of friendly canine faces panting along all around the concourse here. Percival's 3-2, fouled off to the left side, and that rolls to the walls of the dog park. Organist Jeff Liffman plays Steely Dan's Do It Again, as once again it's a 3-2 count. Percival, tan glove at his belt buckle, pitching from the first base side of the rubber, winds home, swung on and nubbed to the backstop. Count remains full, and there's Jeff going at it again with Do It Again. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the classic 70s jazz rock fusion at a baseball game. Why not? Percival takes a moment to tie his shoelaces behind the rubber, and now he sets again. And in that vein, can the rubber band man bounce into another out this inning? Percival trying to retire the side to open up the ball game. No score, top of the first. Base is empty. Here he goes. Swing and a miss. No, it's foul tipped underneath David Whittle. So Allgaier keeps himself alive again. Looked like that had gotten by him, but the vision was blocked by both David Whittle and home plate umpire Scott Jones. Neil Turner is off at first with the crew chief over at third, Pete Saucedo. 9th pitch of the at-bat. Inside and low, and the at-bat is turned into a plate appearance as that is ball 4. Oakland's first base runner arrives with a battle. Jake Allgaier forcing his way aboard on the walk. Jaden Kalura taking a turn now. The catcher follows up a ball game when he reached base twice, going 1 for 4, walking in the first inning.
And Percival just tried to finish him off with an inside slider 2 times in a row. The first one, Allgaier got a little on top of, and the second one just cut a little bit too far inside, trying to jam him there, but Allgaier knew what was coming.
Percival readies against the lefty. Allgaier, a 3-step lead off of first. First pitch forces a swing and miss. 0-1 count. And Percival, after some of these pitches, appears to be taking a page from the pooches in attendance, chasing his own tail, spinning around after he lands. Infield shifted towards the first base line. The 0-1 pitch swung on and blasted to deep center field. Emilio Corona in pursuit, and he's got time. A step in front of the warning track. He makes the grab. Oakland works its way into a 2-out walk, but can't get further than that. No score. Moving on to the bottom of the first inning. Eddie Pelk, Dylan Lena, and Cooper Vest due up for the hometown crew on the Home Team Network. Packing pooches into the park. It's time for the bottom of the first inning here on Bark in the Park Wednesday. No score as Long Beach trots up to the plate. Eddie Pelk pawing the inside chalk, leading off here, trying to extend his 49 contest on-base streak up to 50, and this the 50th game of the season, facing the right-hander Hunter Day. First time he's facing Long Beach. First pitch winds high and outside for ball 1 to Pelk. Also the team's batting average leader. Eddie Pelk has mounted a 387 mark through the first half of the season. 1-0. Fastball misses low and inside. It's a 2-0 count. Minnesota State and Missouri State product on the mound. Day settles in. Brown glove hiding his eyes underneath the shadowed mound. Turns again. Misses inside and low. 3-0 count. Underneath the shadows, rather on top of the mound. Eddie Pelk led off Sunday's game, the end of the first half, with a home run. Now a 3-0 count, and he keeps the bat on his shoulder, but the fastball finds the zone, blown away for strike 1. And Pelk is creeping closer to Evan Scavato's walks record of last season for the Grand Junction Jackalopes of 86. The 3-1. He watches the breaking ball inside and low, and that is walk number 72 for the Huntington Beach native.
And what that means, Jesse, is he has just broken into the top 5 of all time, tying former Oakland Baller Noah Martinez. In 2024, he took 72 base on balls,
Wow.
just 14 away now, like you said, to tying the all-time Pioneer League record in walks.
Well, Pelk sets in on first base while Dylan Lena digs in at the plate. Lena walking in with a 200 batting average, but this is just his 11th professional game. Righty-righty affair. First pitch, a slider at the belt for a strike. Lena's fan club has made it to just about every Coast game because he played his last 2 college seasons right here at Blair Field for the Dirtbags of Long Beach State. One of my favorite team names in all of college sports, by the way. 0-1 pitch. Sails high and outside. It's a 1-1 count.
Does this imply you have other favorites?
Well, I like the Syracuse Orange, where I went to school. I think the mascot also ends up making the team name that much better. But the Gauchos out at UC Santa Barbara. Next pitch, flared over the backstop for a 1-2 count.
I'm a big fan of the St. Louis Billikens.
That's a great one. A Billiken, which was entirely a made-up term when they made it their mascot. 1-2 count. Long Beach's other sports are, of course, the 49ers. 1-2, misses up high. 2-2 count for Lena. Sat out yesterday's game, recovering after the Modesto series, although Lena definitely could use a pick-me-up. The Clovis, California native and ended up 0 for his last 15. He swings and grounds that one to short, flip to second for one, the turn to first in time. Tremaine Cobb to Nick Leahy to Jeter Ibarra to turn 2. So Lena now 0 for his last 16. Oakland recording a couple outs to clear the bases for Cooper Vest. Here in the bottom of the first inning, tied up at 0-0. Vest batting on the left side. He underwent a similar slump last week, but has bounced back, ending up 5 for his last 18 now. Righty sidearms to lefty and misses low and away for a 1-0 count. Vest endured a stretch last week where he went 0 for 10. Playing Yuba Sutter and Modesto. Next pitch. Lands for a strike, 1-1 count. That one dropping to 80 miles per hour on the changeup. Vest waving the two-piece, tan-barreled and black-handled bat. 1-1 pitch. Keeps that barrel in check as the fastball misses up by his letters for a 2-1 count.
And Hunter Day is a changeup dominant pitcher. That is his go-to pitch, followed by a sinker, slider, curve, and then the four-seam.
2-1. Bends in off the knees for ball 3 on the slider. Day playing in his second professional season, starting this year in the American Association with the team that picked him up last year, the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks. 3-1, called a strike, low and away. Vest shakes his head at that one, but resettles. And some squeaking in the background with chew toys galore out here at Blair Field. The payoff, he swings and foul tips it into the catcher's mitt for strike 3. Long Beach ends up boarding the first batter, but winds up with an unconventional 1-2-3 inning. Moving on to the top of the second inning, the Cook Quiz is on the way, and so is the 5, 6, and 7 portion of the Oakland Order on the Home Team Network. Pawing back into the ballpark with no score between the Long Beach Coast and the visiting Oakland Ballers. Top of the second inning coming at you here. Cole Percival still on the bump. The right-hander dealing to Jeter Ibarra on the left side. Jesse Cook with you with Joey Miller to my right. In the broadcast booth, you're on Bark in the Park Wednesday. Percival sets, bombs on the mound, and rears home. Fastball above the belt for a 1-0 count. Ibarra followed by Noah Blythe and Paul Winland. And it was an uncharacteristically down day for Ibarra, who only recorded 1 hit yesterday. He leads the Pioneer League with 21 homers, but he did strike out twice in last night's game. 1-0. There's the heater for a strike low and away. 1-1 count. And this is the 50th game of the season for the Long Beach Coast. So I thought we'd get creative with the number 50 for this one. What closers in baseball history have recorded multiple 50-save seasons? 1-1. Swing and a miss over the slider. 1-2 count.
Well, I'd assume that there is one in attendance tonight in terms of in the Long Beach Coast dugout specifically.
So you're thinking Troy Percival had multiple 50-save seasons.
Well, I assume he had a 14-year career in Major League Baseball. He is the all-time saves leader for the Angels of Anaheim.
Well, we will get the answer in the bottom half of this frame. There are only 17 instances where a pitcher recorded 50 saves. 1-2. Swung on and saw it to the left side for a knock. Ibarra is aboard, and Oakland has its first hit, the first knock for either team in this ball game. That leads off the top of the second inning and brings up Noah Blythe. Blythe digging in on the right side of the plate. .327 batting average for Blythe, entering his 39th start of the season. Digs in with that white arm protector on his elbow, on the front arm. Percival sets, brings up that blue cleat, and misses inside and high on the fastball for a 1-0 count. Back to the Cook quiz. Most of the pitchers to record 50 saves have done so in the 21st century. 1-0 pitch. He winces at the fastball off the hands for a 2-0 count.
And I'd say to that point, those saves being in the 21st century, pitching has changed so much just in the past 20 years. I recall, growing up, seeing somebody like Tim Lincecum. That was one of the more premier pitchers when we were growing up. And his fastball really was only around 90, 92. Pretty standard for today's standards in Major League Baseball. Now you got 18-year-olds throwing triple digits.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the turn was Aroldis Chapman in 2010 coming out of Cuba, turning heads with his 105-mile-per-hour fastball. Now you got guys like Paul Skeens who do it,
Jacob Misiorowski.
And Mason Miller as well.
Well, Skeens and the Miz are both starters, to your point, making it even more shocking. 2-0 pitch, swung on and popped up behind second base. Jacob Jablonski tracking back, called off by Matthew Bardowell and right, who makes the one-handed grab. One away in the top of the second inning with a runner on first. 0-0 ball game between Long Beach and Oakland. Do you know when the first pitcher recorded 50 saves?
Well, it wouldn't have been too early because a lot of the pitchers in the golden era of baseball tended to just stay out there all 9 innings for the most part. So I wouldn't imagine it was anywhere before 1950.
Paul Winland batting on the left side. Percival's first pitch to him, a fastball by the ankles. 1-0 count. You're underestimating with the 50s. It was much later. It was before the most of the CBA rules came to be as they are. It was 1990 when Bobby Thigpen recorded 57. Next pitch misses high and outside. It's a 2-0 count. And that was a record that would stand for 18 years before K-Rod Francisco Rodriguez surpassed it. 2-0 count. Percival throws over to first, no tag. Before Thigpen, the high water mark was 46 by Dave Righetti in 1986. And then Dennis Eckersley got close a couple years later with 45. There were a few pitchers who got up into the 40s in the 80s. Next pitch, foul to the backstop. 2-1 count for the former coaster, Paul Winland. Dan Quisenberry reached up to 45 in 1983. Bruce Sutter was at 45 in 1984. Even Jeff Brantley got up there in 1996. And that was the start of less all-time great pitchers and more pretty good pitchers reaching that mark. No offense to the Cowboy. Winland swings at the 2-1. That makes it a 2-2 count. I know my dad loves to hear his name mentioned there because he's now one of the voices for the Cincinnati Reds, who he listens to a bunch. And to your point, Aroldis Chapman, of course, debuting in Cincinnati. Dialing up the ticker to 105. 2-2. Swung on and patted foul to the right side.
I remember specifically wanting to get tickets to a Cincinnati Reds game when they came to Coors Field just to see Aroldis Chapman in 2010, 2011.
Well, you know, I went to the Angels-Red Sox game here in Anaheim on Independence Day, and I was walking around next to the bullpen and rolling around on a cart just because he's too cool to walk. Well, it's Aroldis Chapman, and he waved. 2-2 count. Percival nods. Turns the mustache home. Bends in the slider just above the belt. So it's a full count for Winland. And I will say that is probably the fastest person I have ever encountered, whether it be by speed of the feet or of the hands. That fastball still up above 100 miles per hour. 3-2, swing and a miss. Percival ends up with his first strikeout of the ball game, knocking down Paul Winland, and there are two away in the top of the second inning. No score between the LBC and the Bees with a runner on first. That's Jeter Ibarra. Now Nick Leahy takes a turn, batting on the right side. Yesterday he finished 0 for 3, firing off a sacrifice fly in the sixth inning. Out of the stretch. Fastball for a strike. 0-1 count to Leahy, the 8-hitter in this lineup. Howling in the distance, although that may be a sound effect from our friend Jonathan Gibbons running that board. Throw over to first and no movement from Ibarra, who dives back in safely. Jeter Ibarra this season has only attempted one stolen base, and it was unsuccessful. He keeps a tight lead off of first. Cooper Vest covering the bag. Percival settles and rears home, drops in the slider, and that just misses. I thought that hit the strike zone, but no argument from Percival on the ball call from home plate umpire Scott Jones, who's keeping a lower strike zone in this game, something similar to what the crew chief, Pete Cito, maintained yesterday. The 1-1 pitch swung on and blasted high to left field. Eddie Pelk feeling for the fence, but he has time in front of the warning track. One hand up, and he makes the catch, splashing down into the tan mitt. We move on to the bottom of the second inning, still knotted up at zeros. We'll get the answer to the Cook quiz with Coast Baseball returning on the Home Team Network. Whoo, doggy. It is humid and hot here at Blair Field, although these offenses have run cold as we enter the bottom of the second inning. On Bark in the Park Wednesday, no score as Matthew Bardowell leads off for Long Beach in the home half of the second, opposite the right-hander Hunter Day. First pitch, sidearms outside and low. 1-0 count on the slider. Bardowell bringing in a 2 for 4 line yesterday with a pair of doubles. 1-0 out of the windup. He swings and cracks that to short. Tremaine Cobb waiting on it. He shuffles to first for out number 1. Long Beach hitless to this point, but trying to mirror the weather this week and extend their winning streak up to 6 games. Trying to extend the winning streak up against Oakland to 7 contests. Cuba Best takes a turn now, batting on the left side. Yesterday, he piled on a couple of RBIs, a ground out in the 6th inning that jump-started that 4-run rally, boosting Long Beach to victory. First pitch misses high and outside and pops out of the catcher Jaden Kalura's mitt to the backstop. 1-0 count. That one shined right underneath Scott Jones, the home plate umpire, who has a bit of sunlight tracking onto the back of his mask, peeking through the stands. 1-0 to Bess. Curveball misses inside and low by the Sox for a 2-0 count. 83 degrees here in Long Beach at 7:06 p.m. Out of the windup, he swings and lines that one down the first base chalk, but foul. 2-1 count for Bess. Bending back in on the left side. The Colorado native at the dish, batting .344 entering this contest. Day winds home and misses high and away on the changeup. 3-1 count for Bess. Yesterday, Bess's second RBI came by way of a single in that huge 5-run 7th inning. Next pitch, he swings and fends that off to the left side to make it a 3-2 count. Hunter Day resettling. Hunter Day resettling on the mound. Winds up home. Swinging a lace to first, but right at Jeter Ibarra, who gloves it for the second out. Well, Cuba Bess, you can't hit the ball much harder than that. 106 miles per hour off the bat. But if anyone knows what a good exit velocity looks like, it's the league leader in home runs, Jeter Ibarra at first base. So he's fast to that, and that is a hard second out for Long Beach, bringing up Jacob Jablonski, the switch hitter, batting as a lefty. Day kicks low. Backs Jablonski off the plate with the 87-mile-per-hour fastball. 1-0 count. Jablonski waving a tan bat. Next pitch, he swings and foul tips it into the mitt. 1-1 count, chasing the changeup. Jablonski 1 for 4 yesterday with an RBI knock. Scored a couple runs, also walked once. The 1-1 pitch, he swings and fouls that off to the left side. 1-2 count. Jablonski wearing black and teal batting gloves matching his arm guard on his right wrist. Day, tan glove in front of his eyes, drops to the belt and twists home. The 1-2. Missing low and outside on the changeup at 81 miles per hour. 2-2 count. Blue skies in Long Beach. The heat may be blinding the dogs on Bark in the Park Wednesday. 2-2 pitch. Blinds Jablonski as he watches the changeup drop for strike 3 at the knees. No score as we move on to the top of the 3rd inning. Long Beach twice going without a hit. We move on with Coast Baseball on the Home Team Network. Still scoreless as we enter the top of the third inning. Long Beach on defense here at Blair Field. The visiting Oakland Ballers taking their cuts against Cole Percival. He's allowed just one hit, and it came to the hottest bat in this Oakland lineup, Jeter Ibarra, leading the league with 21 home runs. Third on the team in batting average. Now it's the 9-hitter Miles Beal batting on the left side, followed by Tremaine Cobb and Isai Santos. Percival's first pitch, a slider that lands for a strike at the belt, 0-1 count. We're still playing the Cook quiz, and we're wondering which MLB pitchers have recorded multiple 50-save seasons, as this is game number 50 in the history of the Long Beach Coast. 0-1 from the stretch. Swung on and fouled to the left side and out of play, 0-2 count. And I will tell you, there are three answers. There are three possible solutions to the 50-save dilemma, and I have already received a guess. Usually I look for them on social media, but without fail, Ben Cook, my dad, has something to say over text, and I appreciate his guesses because that's arguably the best engagement we get for the Cook quiz. I do it exclusively for his benefit, too. 0-2 count. Percival from the stretch once again. He bounces that at 84 miles per hour. Believe that was meant to be a curveball or a slider.
And, you know, if you're tuning in on our YouTube stream, we read those.
Yes, in the comments. We're looking at them.
Yeah. Don't be shy to ask us a few questions throughout the broadcast. We're happy to answer.
1-2 pitch. Slider by the Sox, inside and low, 2-2 count. Well, Ben Cook has guessed Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera, and Eric Gagne. All good guesses. Two and two. Called, strike three, low and away. Immediately challenged by Beal, and he's correct. This will come back for a ball, checking our ABS TrackMan challenge system. Oakland successful on its first challenge attempt.
Yeah, I was going to guess Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera. Those just seem to be the obvious ones. Two of the greatest closers of all time.
Good guesses. We will get the answer when there are two away. 3-2. Swing and a miss, so we're halfway there. Strike three for Miles Beal. That brings up the top of the order, and Tremaine Cobb, who bounced out to the mound last time up. Righty-righty affair, infield playing back. This pitch lands outside for ball one. One and 0 count. Percival settles in, kicks up high, bounces the next one. 2-0 count. So some hints for the Cook quiz. I will guarantee that, yes, you have heard of a couple of these pitchers. One of them did appear in Dodger blue for a significant portion of his career, another in pinstripes, and another also in that Yankees division. 2-1, bounced backward, 2-1 count. All of these pitchers appeared on the bump in the early to late 2000s, at least for the majority of their career. But the latest one retired in 2018. Out of the stretch, swinging a dribbler off the plate. So who are you thinking about?
Well, I have a name to throw out here. Another Colorado native. Have to give him a shout out. Me being from Colorado, Mark Melancon.
Mark Melancon did have at least one 50-save season, I will tell you that. I know that for a fact. 17 pitchers, well, 17 times it has happened that someone has recorded 50 saves. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Tremaine Cobb waves and misses at the slider. And now it's time for your answer, Joey. Is there a two away here in the top of the third? No score.
I think I've emptied the clip here in terms of what I have in my brain.
So are you going with Mariano, Trevor, and Melanson. I know you mentioned
K-Rod.
K-Rod, the single-season saves leader at 62 in 2008.
Maybe Mason Miller, but it might be too
Mason
early.
Miller hasn't gotten there yet. Isai Santos batting on the left side. First pitch to him. He watches the heater miss inside for ball one. So final three right now on the spot.
I think we'll lock those in. K-Rod, Hoffman, Rivera, and Melanson.
There are three. There are three.
Oh, okay.
So no Melanson or yes Melanson?
Yes, Melanson.
1-0, misses inside and low. So who are you knocking out?
We will knock out K-Rod.
Well, it was not Francisco Rodriguez. His 62 was the only time he reached above 50. The answers are, yes, Mariano Rivera with 50 in 2001, and then again in 2004 with 53. Then you got to go to Eric Gagne. This pitch popped up, foul, third base side. Dylan Lena chasing the catcher, David Whittle, without his mask, looking for it, but that's in the stands. Off in the dog pound on Wolf Wednesday. So Rivera did it twice. Eric Gagne in 2002 marked 52 saves. In the following season, 53. Unbelievable. And then a Baltimore Oriole who retired in 2018 on a different team, Jim Johnson, did it twice. 2013, 50 saves. And then 2016, Johnson did it in 2012 with 51 saves, right before his 50-save 2013 campaign. 2-0 pitch. Misses inside and low for a 3-1 count. Johnson getting it done in 12 and 13, both with the Orioles, but he was only an All-Star in 2012. I don't know how he was left off the roster in 2013. 50 saves is unreal. He ended up 7th in the Cy Young voting in 2012. 3-1, the high leg kick. Checks his swing as the fastball misses high and outside. And I was confident that you could get Rivera, and I figured somebody might get Eric Gagne, but I remember watching baseball as a kid avidly during those seasons, and I was shocked to see Jim Johnson's name on the list because I do not remember his career very well. 2012 was his lone All-Star appearance, although I do recall that he did tear up the Boston Red Sox when I was watching games from my house in Massachusetts many times. Runner on first, 2 away. First pitch to Jake Allgaier. Fastball called a strike in the upper part of the zone.
Well, 2012 for the Baltimore Orioles, you had some sneaky good pitchers like Brian Matthews. You had Jeremy Guthrie that year.
Yes. Team made it to the ALDS, losing to the Yankees in Game 5. Next pitch misses above the belt for a 1-1 count. They won the wild card game that year over the Texas Rangers. And was that the first year of the wild card game, 2012?
It could have been.
Throw over to first, no action.
I know that they were, I know it was post 2007. It might have been 2007. There was game 163.
1-1 count. Percival glances at first. Runner goes for second. Pitch swung on. Check swing. No, not swung on. Throw to second is offline. And we're waiting for the signal from home plate umpire Scott Jones on if that was a strike or a ball. And it was outside with Allgaier holding his bat in check. Santos stealing second. Jim Johnson, by the way, tossed the last pitch of that wild card game, but it was not a save opportunity. Not that it would have affected his in-season stats. Game 50, we were talking about the 50th save. 2-1 count. Allgaier on the left side and a low open stance. Next pitch from Percival, misses outside and low. And his control has weakened a little bit as this game has gone on. He walked Jake Allgaier back in the first inning, and although he went through the second without issuing a free pass, he took Paul Winland to a 3-ball count, and he's done that to every batter except for Tremaine Cobb. here in the third inning. Percival, who had not walked a batter yet this season before this game. 3-1, sawed off to the left side and foul. Full count here for Allgaier. Long Beach coming up in the bottom of this third inning in a game tied up at 0-0 has 7-8-9. With a first inning double play and no hits so far, Hunter Day has pitched the minimum through a couple frames.
Now, this being the 12th batter that Percival has faced, 5 of them have reached a 3-ball count.
Percival settling in, bobbing up and down on the mound. Stares at second. Glances back a couple times. Here he goes home. Another one fouled off to the left side.
And 3 of those 5 have gone 6 or more pitches. They're working up Percival's pitch count, trying to get him out of the game by the 4th inning.
Well, that was what happened a week ago against Yuba Sutter. That was probably more planned for his first opener appearance of the year. Again, the payoff. He swings and, you guessed it, fouls off the left side again. Percival working in the heat despite being shadowed on the mound. Perhaps the dogs can give him some support. They need to start barking. Maybe we can play a doorbell sound effect for them.
They did.
They did? I missed it.
It didn't
work. The dogs need to lock in. I'm sure as darkness comes on with night, they'll calm down a little bit for it. 3-2 pitch, sails upstairs for ball 4. Allgaier, just like his first time at the plate, issues a 9-pitch plate appearance to work his way aboard. And now Cole has to go at the parent-teacher conference here as his dad, Troy Percival, makes the trip out from the dugout. Manager of the Coast talking to his son, who's taking a long walk around the mound before circling back out there. David Whittle joining him. Whittle, who, of course, played for Percival at UC Riverside and caught the alumnus, the younger Percival, when he would make his way back there for off-season workouts. And Scott Jones walks out to talk with the manager, potentially telling them to wrap it up. And now they walk off shoulder to shoulder.
I think Troy Percival had a couple of mean words to say to Scott Jones there.
Well, the home plate umpire actually was smiling on his way back, so maybe they were some jabs, but all in good fun, at least in the early going here. Runners on first and second, tied up at 0-0, top 3, 2 away for Jaden Kalura. First pitch from righty to lefty, misses chin high for ball 1. Kalura swaying a 2-piece green barrel and black handle bat. Percival perches his right hand behind the small of his back, now settles in. Percival sets, deals home. This one swung on down the right field line. That'll land. That brings home the first run of the game. Asai Santos scoring from second. Ball kicks around in the corner. Jake Allgaier behind him. Relay to the infield. Runs offline. And it's a 2-run double for Kalura into the right field corner. 2-0 Oakland on a 2-out rally in the top of the third. Tremaine Cobb struck out for that second out, and the 3 batters since have all reached base. That is the second hit issued against Percival in this ball game. Kalura went 1 for 4 yesterday. Now he has his first hit of this ball game, and it brings up the ever-fearsome Jeter Ibarra. Ibarra third on the team in batting average entering this game at .353. Kalura ahead of him at .354. That is double number 12 for Kalura, his 18th extra base hit. First pitch fouled to the backstop to Noah Blythe, correction, because Ibarra has been intentionally walked. Blythe fouls it back. Blythe, a little less of a bugaboo for Long Beach pitching, although still a tough bat to handle, entering the ball game with a .327 line. He's powered into 8 home runs this year, 18 extra base hits. Next pitch, he swings and lunges. That one foul to the right side and out of play. Cooper Vest feeling for the netting, and that's all he sees. 0-2 count. Oakland piecing together back-to-back-to-back-to-back base runners, 3 of them by way of a walk, although Ibarra's went without a pitch as the intentional free pass. Percival settles in. Blue cleats bouncing on the right side of the rubber. Stares at second. Kicks up high. Swinging a chopper out to short. Waiting on it, Anthony Mata, who shovels to second for the out. Jacob Jablonski closing his mitt on it. But Oakland opening this game open with a 2-run double from Jaden Kalura. It's 7-8-9, due up for Long Beach when we return for the bottom of the 3rd inning on the Home Team Network. Barking, yelping, and howling back to Woof Wednesday with dogs here at Blair Field in Oakland, trying to beat down Long Beach with a 2-0 lead, but perhaps the current underdog has a way back. Emilio Corona leading off for Long Beach, followed by Anthony Mata and David Whittle. 7-8-9 in the order against the right-hander Hunter Day. He sidearms his first pitch, a slider for a strike down the heart of the plate. 0-1 count for Corona. And while the team might be the underdog at the moment, Corona best on the team with 14 home runs. He swings at the next pitch and patters it foul to the left side. 0-2 count yesterday, playing the role of hero. Corona in the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes, down a run, blasting off to center field with a mammoth home run to make it 5-4, a lead that the LBC would never relinquish. Base is empty, nobody out for the leadoff man. 0-2 to Corona, sails up high for a 1-2 count. Looking around the ballpark, we've seen numerous dog breeds. Chihuahuas, poodles, a corgi, golden retrievers. That pitch misses high and inside, even a Doberman. 2-2 count. And Corona, much like an Australian or German dog, trying to shepherd this inning for Long Beach with a good leadoff at bat. 2-2. Fastball for a strike at the belt, and Corona immediately challenges that. Home plate umpire Scott Jones turns around to the press box asking for the signal. And public address announcer August McAdoo overturns the strike call to a ball. So Corona is on the money there, and Long Beach is playing a dangerous game with challenges. Starting off 0-1, you only get 2, so if you miss, then you lose it. But Corona's correct. The 3-2, he swings and fires that to the back netting. Count remains full. Long Beach played a conservative weekend with challenges, Joey, out in Modesto.
Yeah, they didn't really have a need. Well,
3-2. Called strike 3 on the slider again, and Corona, while walking off to first, starts patting his head, and he is sure of himself, and he's correct, flipping the bat aside. And once again, Corona correct, overturning the strike call to a ball. Leadoff man aboard for Long Beach. However, the Coast are still hitless. That is the second base runner for the Coast after Eddie Pelk led off the ball game with a free pass. By the way, a ridiculous number for him, 72 in this, the 50th game of the season, averaging almost a walk and a half per game. Corona was adamant in that ball call there, and he can nod himself on first base with a satisfied look. First pitch, the righty Anthony Mata winds in for a strike down at the knees, 0-1 count. Mata, much like the battery pair for Long Beach today of Cole Percival and David Whittle, is a UC Riverside alum. Whittle waiting on deck. Throw over to first, and Corona is back standing. You do have to keep an eye on these two gentlemen when they're on the bases. Emilio Corona has stolen a team-leading 22 bags. Anthony Mata, although he's down at 17, he hasn't been caught yet. 17 for 17. He lays the two-piece bat on his back shoulder. Next pitch, he swings and corkscrews it to third. Picked by Allgaier, throws to second for one. The turn to first in time. First base umpire Neil Turner making the punch-out signal right there. Still 2-0 Oakland, bottom of the third inning. Bases newly emptied for the rookie David Whittle. Playing in his second ever home game, third professional contest for Long Beach. And the first one started off on a very high note, Joey. In his first plate appearance, he slugged a grand slam.
yeah, but he has been 0 for 5 since, trying to get back into the H column.
First pitch from righty to righty. Sidearms for a strike on the outer half. 0-1 count. Now the 0-1. Bends in for a strike, low and away. Whittle told us, Joey, that he felt really comfortable on this team because he has Cole Percival, a UC Riverside alum, as he does with Anthony Mata, and then Jackson Bird and Matthew O'Brien, who were his teammates at UCR as well. The next pitch lands up high for a 1-2 count for Whittle. 2-0 Oakland, bottom of the third. Bases empty and 2 away. Day, the windup, swing and a miss over the slider there. So Whittle retired. That is the third strikeout for Day, who has pitched the minimum. We move on to the top of the fourth. Oakland leading 2-0. Joey Miller will be on the mic for the next 3 innings of play-by-play here at Blair Field for Coast Baseball on the Home Team Network.
Welcome back Heading into the top of the fourth, it is 2-0 Ballers. After Hunter Day, the starter for the Ballers, gets the first shutdown inning in the bottom of the third. He has retired all 9 straight, or rather has faced the minimum. He has allowed 2 base runners aboard, but has got them out in one way or another with a pair of double plays defensively. And now Cole Percival gets an 0-1 count on Paul Winland. The next pitch, a check swing. They deferred down to Pete Saucedo, the crew chief, who says that Winland, the former Long Beach Coast member, did not go around. It's a 1-1 count. Percival stands tall on the bump, takes a breath, high leg kick, the 1-1, a hard swing and a miss. Fastball with a little bit off of it. 89 miles per hour and a 1-2 count on Paul Winland. This is his 16th game with Oakland. He played 15 with the Long Beach Coast. Last night tying not only the amount of games played, but at-bats as well. Last night when he pinch hit in the top of the ninth, it was his 51st at-bat, the exact amount of at-bats he had as a Long Beach Coast member. He takes ball 2 to even up the count. The 2-2, this one in the air towards center field. Corona charges in and to his right to make the grab in left center for out number 1.
How many times in batting practice do you think Emilio Corona shagged a Paul Winland fly out back when he was with the Coast? It's got to have happened a bunch.
Especially when you think about the fact that those two were also a part of the spring training roster.
Of course.
Now Nick Leahy, righty, steps into the box for the second time this afternoon and takes a breaking ball outside for ball 1. Leahy flew out to left field. Oh, actually that was a called strike there. This one on the ground to Dylan Lena. The ant killer gets across the diamond for out number 2. That is now 7 pitches and 2 outs for Percival, trying to get back into the sort of things that he had in his first 2 innings of work. 2 zeros on the board right away, where he faced 4 batters apiece in the first and the second, respectively, only allowing 1 hit in those 2 innings. Now the 9-hitter, Miles Beal, shows bunt but pulls back on the breaking ball.
I know it's an extra half inning for Oakland, but the Ballers could send the leadoff man to the plate 3 times before Long Beach does it even once, does it twice.
The 1-0 count. This one, he gets the bunt down perfectly down the third base line. From the knees, Percival tries to make a play at first. Vest keeps it in front of him. It's going to be an infield single.
I have not seen that move from the pitcher before. I think Percival tried to slide for it, but the infield grass isn't exactly accustomed to players sliding. The outfield, sure. But that is for sure a hit. Very well-placed bunt.
I mean, that was a choice to even make that play. It was good on Percival to get there before Lena did. But Miles Beal was booking it up the line. That was a perfect bunt. A push bunt there for him. Or rather, a drag bunt, that would be. There's a called strike on Tremaine Cobb, the leadoff man. 0 for 2 tonight thus far. One of the 3 strikeout victims for Percival in his last time up. And swings out of his shoes there, slips a little bit for an 0-2 count. That was an off-speed, high in the zone on the changeup. Cobb steps back into the box after a hefty 3-for-4 night last night. Prior to that, in his first 3 games at Blair Field, he was 4 for 13, so nearly doubling that. Now the pickoff move catches Beal in a pickle. The back and forth ends with Cooper Vest tagging him out, and he says, oh, darn it, they got me. Percival faces the minimum, despite facing off against 4 batters to start. He clears up his first 3 batters faced heading into the bottom of the 4th. It is still 2-0 Ballers. Bottom of the fourth, and the Coast batsmen need to get to work. Eddie Pelk is no stranger to getting the party started. Hunter Day back on the mound. He's faced 9 through the first 3, and now the first pitch skips past the dive of Leahy for the first hit of the ball game for the Coast. Eddie Pelk carries on his on-base streak to now 50. All 50 games he has gotten aboard. He did reach on a base on balls, but that also makes it 42 out of his initial 50 games of the season where he has reached on a hit one way or another.
And for Eddie now, his hitting streak moves up to 5 games. The hitting streak reached a high of 14, but he keeps building his resume in both categories.
Still an on-base percentage of over 500. Dylan Lena turns on the first pitch. It's sent out to center field, and Santos leisurely walks over to his left to make the grab for out number 1.
And I like that Lena has stayed aggressive because an 0 for now 17 spell is very discouraging. But he keeps swinging early in these counts and trying to let the pitcher know that he can still make it hurt. So I'm excited to see what he can do, especially this series, because I feel like his swing is still in a good spot. He just has gotten unlucky.
Third pitch of this bottom of the fourth. Hunter Day finally finds the glove of his battery mate Kalura on Cooper Vest, who takes ball 1 outside on the changeup. We've talked about how Day likes to start people off with that changeup. Now a bouncer out to second. Leahy gets it to Cobb at short, and then on to first to try for the double play, but it's not there in time. It's going to be a fielder's choice. Exchanging out base runners, Pelk heads back towards the dugout. Vest is aboard with 2 outs.
And for the first time, Long Beach will send 4 men to the plate in an inning.
And Matthew Bardwell will try and cash in a run. They still trail by 2 here. Early on in this contest, heading into the halfway point. There's a called strike on a breaking ball. An 0-1 count. Day gets ahead of the count now for the first time this inning. Day waits and now fires a pitch that is fouled into the first base net, right around where Cuba Bess stands. He will be the next batter up should the inning continue. Bardwell kicked off the bottom of the second. It's a 1-2-3 inning. The only 1-2-3 inning that Day has pitched today where he did not allow a base runner. The 0-2 cuts outside on the slider. And maybe that was aided by one of the furry friends in attendance on this Woof Wednesday. There was a bark Right at that pitch there.
In the park.
The 1-2 from Day cuts outside. It looked like a cutter, the way his changeup moves out of his arm. But nevertheless, it is a 2-2 count. 2-2 right around the zone there on that curveball, but Bardwell takes it all the way, and he is correct to do so. It is a 3-2 count. The 5th 3-ball count for Day. This one off the end of Bardwell's bat into the first base net. 6-pitch at bat. Next pitch being the 7th would tie the longest at bat that Hunter Day has had with any of his initial 13 batters faced this Wednesday afternoon. Runner at first. The Coast down by 2. Here's that payoff pitch. It's fouled back to the netting. Behind home plate, first base side.
By the way, there is action in the Long Beach bullpen, and it's the new guy, Jonathan Kozowski, starting to loosen up out there. The right-hander from Los Angeles who played at Point Loma Nazarene University, a D2 in San Diego.
Payoff pitch once more. Misses just outside on the breaker. Now a runner in scoring position. Cuba Bass is going to try and punch across one of these runs to get the Coast on the board for the first time tonight. That is the 3rd walk that Day has issued after giving up his first hit at the start of this inning. 2 outs for Cuba Bass, who sent a hot shot 106-mile-per-hour line drive into the glove of Jeter Ibarra, who is working up the very same right field line, right around the edge of that outfield grass. The first pitch is taken for strike 1 by Cuba Bass. 0-1 is fouled to the edge of the first base dugout. Quickly 0-2. Cuba Bass leads this team with 65 RBI, including 5 ribbies in the past 2 games. 3 on Sunday, 2 last night against the Ballers. Day looks back at Vest at second. Now fires the 0-2, missing high.
We've seen young pitchers fall into this rut, and it happened to Jack Martin a little bit yesterday where he would attack with 2 strikes to open up the at-bat and then try to get the batter to chase, and would end up unraveling for him.
The 1-2, hard line drive down the right field line. It's fair. Vest comes around to score. Matthew Bardwell trailing right behind him, and he's going to get the green light on the throw in. The relay to the plate is not going to be in time, but the ball skips away from the catcher Kalura. Nice backup there by Day. Cuba Bass will stay put at second base for the 2-run single that ties up this ball game. Cuba Bass, 7 ribbies in the past 3 games, and he's not done even tonight, folks. That was his second at-bat, getting things going here in the bottom of the 4th.
Man, 3 RBIs on Sunday, 2 yesterday, 2 more so far today. And Bass has done this in 2 strike counts. He's gotten very good at protecting the plate. Yesterday, his last RBI came in a full count.
That was a very loud 109 off of his bat for that shot to the corner of the Jared Weaver bullpen. Jacob Jablonski takes ball 1 high and outside. Switch hitter hitting from the left side. Day comes set from the stretch. Takes a breath, looks back at Best, now goes to the plate. It's fouled back. For a 1-1 count, Jablonski was a strikeout victim. The only backwards K on the night. Faced off against 5 pitches to Hunter Day. He did not like the final call that ended the 2nd inning. 1-1 down the left field line this time. Beal racing over towards the corner, and he crashes into the wall. Does he hold on to it? Yes, he does. Oh, look at that. My hat's off to you, Miles Beal. I know he's not on our team, but what a fantastic grab to end the inning and prevent any further damage. I hope he's all right. He hit the hard part of that wall in foul ground. It ends the fourth, but it's a tie ball game. Cuba Bass, the game tying 2-run double, sends us to the fifth. We'll be right back on the Coast Media Network and Home Team Network. Top of the fifth. 2-all is the new score. Cuba Bass tying it up, and Dylan Lena lays out for a first pitch ground ball, and now Pelk gets it into second. The tag applied. It is in time. Tremaine Cobb is furious. That ball got past the glove of Lena. It was an easy single, but then Tremaine Cobb tried to press his luck, charging around first, going for extra bases. The throw in there, the tag applied by Jacob Jablonski just there in time. That call there by Neil Turner. It is out number 1 on the first pitch.
And Cobb was mouthing off there, but I think that's the correct call at second.
Goes 7-4 on the put out.
Well, 5-7 it hit Dylan Lena's glove.
You're right.
But Cobb made it to the base long after the baseball did. And I usually bet on the defense if the baseball beats the runner.
A 1-0 count on Isai Santos. Next pitch, a fastball, misses low and inside. Percival back on the bump, is behind in the count. We did mention that there is some action in the bullpen. One of the new guys just signed today, Jonathan Kozowski. (2-0), just outside to the lefty Santos for a 3-0 count. Bases clear, 1 out. But as I mentioned at the top of this inning, Cuba Best tied up the game at 2 apiece on a 2-run double. The inning ended on a fantastic play by Miles Beal, crashing into the left field corner wall. Next pitch hits for strike 1 on the fastball high at the letters. Hitters count. Percival collects himself. Here's that 3-1. This one on the ground up the first base line, cuts foul. Karam's back onto the field of play. Bardowell chases it down. Santos, a walk and a ground out back in the first. 4 for 15 at Blair Field. He went 1 for 5 yesterday, but all time against the LBC, he is 9 for 48. 14 strikeouts as well. There is a swing and a foul ball that just barely scrapes his bat and keeps him alive in this full count. You mentioned he went 1 for 5 last night, that being the 9th hit in those 48 at-bats. Santos was swapped out in the top of the 9th for newcomer Jemerson, who's on the bench today. This one right back up the middle, and Mata gets it up the middle, tries to make a play at first. It's his time! Oh my goodness! Mata not only prevents that ball from getting right back up the middle into center field for a 1-out single, but he has the time to get it quickly to Cooper Vest for out number 2, and that was a bang-bang play. Stellar call there by Neil Turner. A couple of great defensive gems these past 2 half innings.
Well, even in this, just the top of the 5th, the relay from left to open up against Tremaine Cobb, too.
I was getting ready to just write that off as a single, but Mata just comes out of frame in the middle of nowhere. 1-0 count on Jake Allgaier. The first pitch misses inside on the off speed. He's taken 2 walks today, has yet to record an official at-bat on this Wednesday contest. This one up the middle, and Mata is right there to catch it around the shoestrings for out number 3. Percival faces the minimum after a couple of crazy defensive plays, helping him out and getting the shutdown inning. It is 2-all heading into the bottom of the 5th. We'll be right back on Coast Baseball here on Home Team Network. Bottom 5, welcome back to Blair Field. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. It is a 2-all ball game. Cole Percival finishes out his 5th inning of work, his season high with the Long Beach Coast. Couple of zeros after he gave up the initial lead to the Oakland Ballers back in the top of the 3rd, but then Cuba Bess punching across a couple in the bottom of the 4th on a double down the right field line. Emilio Corona is going to start things off here against Hunter Day, the other starter in the Ballers dugout. Gets a strike 1 on a changeup to start off Corona. The next pitch misses outside. Cuts arm side on that slider. And that slider really just kind of darts across. There's not much fluidity in it, but it still does the job. Next pitch, a changeup outside. 2-1 count. Dogs at the park getting into every pitch here as the excitement ramps up for the Coast. Now an inside-out swing, knuckled over the head of the right side infielders. Emilio Corona gets his first base knock of the day to kick off this bottom of the 5th. That's the trend that the Ballers were looking like they were going to get started just at the top of this inning. In the top of the 5th, Tremaine Cobb sends a single into left field. He gets greedy, heads to second, gets put out on the 5-7-4 And that was where the tides really turned for what then followed by a couple of stellar plays by the man at the plate here, Anthony Mata, who takes strike one, cocks his head, unsure of that call, but accepts an 0-1 count.
Well, it's a valid concern. Emilio Corona's last time to the plate before that hit, and he challenged 2 pitches successfully.
Next pitch down the first base line, narrowly avoiding the first base coach, or rather the first base coach tonight. Usually it's a player who's not starting.
I believe that's Jack Martin, who started yesterday and earned his 5th win.
You are
leading
correct.
The team.
Yes. 0-2 count on Mata. The pitch, a wave and a miss at that curveball. Mata lunged out in front of it, and that is going to be strikeout number 4 for Hunter Day, trying to work through his 5th inning of work. And now the 9 spot, David Whittle, will step up to the plate here with 1 out. And a runner at first. Whittle was one of those now 4 strikeouts on the day for the righty Day. Quick throw back to check on Corona, and understandable with 22 stolen bases, you want to keep him honest. Hunter Day, this is start number 3, or rather number 4, the throw down to second on a pitch that misses. And it is low and outside. Corona swipes bag number 23 of the season. A 1-0 count for Whittle with a runner in scoring position, the go-ahead run. Corona has only been caught stealing twice in his 25 attempts this season. Curveball cuts inside on the righty from UC Riverside. And, you know, we talk about Cole Percival, David Whittle, Anthony Mata making a couple stellar plays.
Matthew O'Brien and Jackson Bird, pitchers. Bird, a 2-way player as a hitter as well. All UCR products.
This one sent up the middle for a base hit. Corona being waved around. The throw in is not cut off. Corona steps on the plate. It's an RBI single for David Whittle. And for Whittle, that is his first hit in 6 at-bats. His first since his very first hit, a grand slam. So now 5 ribbies in 8 at-bats at the professional level.
You know, David Whittle, like the Dos Equis man, I don't always put the ball in play like that, but when I do, I bring home runs.
And
not too shabby for a start for him.
That being the go-ahead run as well. 3-2 Coast. So there's a called strike to Eddie Pelk on the changeup from Day, who has now given up his first deficit of the night. Pelk then on the next pitch gets it down the left field line and foul. Falls behind 0-2. 1 out here with a runner at first. Pelk with a walk and a single. That walk, his 72nd, the hit being his 73rd, both leading the team. He leads the Pioneer League in walks by plenty. The 0-2 curves down below the knees of the Huntington Beach native. Now tied in the top 5 for season base on balls, and he's still got plenty of games to go, having started in all 50 games this season. This one down the right field line and fell. Percival has worked through 5, meaning he is now potentially in line for the win should this lead hold. But with a 3-2 lead, you need to add on to that. The 1-2. This one into right field. Neil Turner steps over about 3 steps to his left to make the grab on the run for out number 2. Nice hard hit ball, but Blythe was there. Now Dylan Lena to the plate. 0 for 2, and 0 for his past 17 now. He's going to try and break out of the trend, just like David Whittle did this inning. Now this one sent back to the warning track by the Jared Weaver bullpen. Blythe circles around it and makes the grab for out number 3. But the go-ahead run, David Whittle, the rookie out of UC Riverside. Call this the Long Beach Highlanders rather than the Long Beach Coast. All these UC Riverside products making the impact tonight. 3-2 Coast. We'll send it to the 6th here on Coast Baseball on the Home Team Network. New arm on the mound for the Long Beach Coast, who have just taken the lead 3-2. Heading into the top of the 6th, and the righty on the bump making his professional debut is Jonathan Kozowski out of San Diego. A couple seasons playing at the Division II level in San Diego at Point Loma Nazarene. And he joins this program, signing today officially. Jaden Kalura, the first he faces in his professional career, in his first pitch. Misses outside on a 92-mile-per-hour fastball. Kozowski works with a 4-pitch set. That 4 seam that you just saw there, a curveball, a changeup, and a slider. Pretty standard 4. Out of the pen. Leg kick and fires. This one high in the sky. Jablonski in shallow right. Grabs it for out number 1 on the 2nd pitch. And Kozowski, he replaces Liam Rocha, who has been released as of last night.
That's right, but not a bad way for the LA native to get his feet wet, retiring his first batter. And that's the way with indie ball, that guys will get added and dropped from rosters, but very happy to have Jonathan on the team here.
Jeter Ibarra will be his biggest challenge in his professional debut. 1 for 1 tonight. Curveball misses low at the knees and inside as well. Cutting across the plate, but the correct call there, says the ABS system. A 1-0 count. The next pitch from Kozowski misses even further inside for a 2-0 count. And Jeter Ibarra, now against Long Beach this season, has 23 hits in 58 at-bats officially.
Yikes, he is just a terror for the Coast.
3 this series. We're here in the 2nd of a 3-game set. We'll also see Oakland next week in another 3-game set. Next pitch misses for ball 3 on the curveball.
And Oakland as a whole has hit the coast hard. The team batting average in head-to-head play for the Ballers is .296.
Kozlowski having to work back from a 3-0. Breaking ball finds the zone, and that seems to be one of the more dominant pitches we're seeing. Just, I suppose, this being our first time seeing him. 6 pitches in, and he's going at it with a lot of breakers. The hitters count. There's the breaking ball again. Finds the zone once more. Freezing up Ibarra, not wanting to wait back and send the hitters count anywhere. Ibarra calls for time.
And the arsenal we see from Kozlowski, 4-seam fastball, which he called typical, and then he told me, here's where it gets weird. Cutter, curveball, splitter, sweeper. I don't think that's weird, but it's one of the more diverse pitching setups that we've seen from any arm on the LBC staff.
Here's the payoff pitch. Breaking ball outside and low, loses him there despite getting those 2 strikes back late in that count. Ibarra walks for the second time this afternoon. The first time it was an intentional walk. That led to the 3rd out of that 3rd inning, the last time that the Ballers scored. We're here in the top of the 6th. Noah Blythe, who ended the bottom of the 5th on a couple grabs in right field, fouls the first pitch to the first base net. 0 for 2 tonight. Blythe at Blair Field is now 5 for 15 with only 1 strikeout. So most of the times when he's up at the plate here in this ballpark, he puts bat to ball somehow. Next pitch, he takes a slider outside for ball 1. Recorded 43 in a 3rd innings pitched across 7 starts and 12 appearances at his Division II just in 2025. There's a fastball called for a strike. Now a 1-2 count with 1 out and a runner on. Point Loma Nazarene, trained with former Major League relief pitcher Joe Beimel, former Dodger, former Rocky, Rays, Devil Rays, I should say.
Yeah, 1 season when they were still TBD.
1-2, foul tip, pops out of the glove of Whittle. He stays alive. All I remember about Joe Beimel is that they gave him a bobblehead. I'm not sure if it was with the Dodgers or the Rockies.
Well, all I remember about him is that he is the only Major League Baseball player who ever gave me a Major League Baseball at a ball game. Mariners at Red Sox, I was sitting next to the bullpen, like 13 years old, and his uncle sat behind me.
1-2 off the end of the bat and up the middle for a base hit. Noah Blythe, his first hit of the game, his 6th here at Blair. Gets runners at first and second with 1 out. The tying run, the lead runner, Ibarra, and now Blythe representing the go-ahead. The Ballers have gotten a hit in all of the previous 5 innings, and now the rookie is going to get a mound visit here from Percival. Brought him on just this morning, officially signing with the Coast, and now trying to offer some words of wisdom. Not seeing much action in the pen. We do see somebody up and stretching right now, but not currently throwing. Kozlowski's going to stay on the mound.
Jake Dixon has begun throwing out in the Jared Weaver right field bullpen. So the left-hander getting loose. That would be the first time Oakland sees a southpaw in this series. Second time this series. First time today. Jackson Bird did backdoor last night's win for Long Beach.
Now Paul Winland has the chance to help his Ballers. Takes a breaking ball in the coal mine for ball 1 to start things off. And Paul Winland is 0 for 2. He's the DH this afternoon. In his 15 games previous to this one with Oakland, a .271 batting average. He played 15 games with Long Beach prior, .235, bumping up his batting average by 36 points since heading up north. There's a hard swing and a miss at the pitch outside on the 93-mile-per-hour fastball, tailing away from the lefty. 1-1 count, 1 out. Middle infielders in double play depth. Mata ranging close to the second base bag. Kozowski fires the next pitch. It's up in the air down the left field line. Pelk charges, and it gets over the net into the kid zone, into the Steve Traxel bullpen, actually, for strike 2. Another fastball, trying to switch it up from his set of breaking balls that he issued to Blythe and Jeter Ibarra. Both have reached. Cooler evening now after an 84-degree first pitch. Nice dark blue gradient in the horizon here at Blair Field. Next pitch misses low inside. Another 93-mile-per-hour fastball evens up the count at 2-2. 5 home runs with the Long Beach Coast, 4 home runs with the Oakland Ballers. Was responsible for a walk-off last Friday in Oakland. There's a swing and a miss. Winland goes down the way of the K for the second time this afternoon, and that is the first professional strikeout for Mr. Jonathan Kozowski. So congrats to him. A.J. Crapo goes and retrieves that baseball.
That's an important job, keeping track of the personal milestones.
2 outs and 2 on. Kozowski still needing to get a job done here.
He didn't like the baseball they gave him after they sent away his first strikeout ball. He asked for a new one.
Nick Leahy to the plate, the second baseman and the 8th spot in Aaron Miles' lineup. First pitch hits outside and low on the fastball with some cutting action.
I'm just still laughing at him throwing away the baseball. He's like, you just got rid of the one I liked.
Well, you don't want to risk that becoming a souvenir for a fan. That's a souvenir for him to keep.
Absolutely.
0-1. Misses low in the dirt. That is now about 5 straight fastballs out of the hands of Jonathan Kozowski. Hey, if it worked on Winland to get the strikeout, maybe it can put away Nick Leahy. But it's a 1-1 count.
And he can dial it up to 96 miles per hour on his heater. He's got definitely some pickup.
1-1. Now he changes it up with a curveball. It's called for a strike. Nick Leahy immediately taps his head. The second challenge attempt for Oakland is successful. A 2-1 count now. 2 for 2 are the Oakland Ballers tonight, and 2 for 3 are the Long Beach Coast, challenging home plate umpire Scott Jones. Kozowski waits. The 2-1 cuts up and in. Look out. Has to spin out of the way and take off his helmet to catch his breath there on that brush back. 2-1 count. Now a hitter's count for Lee. He was 0 for 2 tonight. 3 for 14 here at Blair Field. 0 for 3 yesterday, so 0 for 5 in the series. Here's that 3-1 in the air to right center. Bardowell cruises in and makes the grab for out number 3. That leaves 2 stranded for the Ballers. And another shutdown inning, the first for Jonathan Kozowski, who gets a high five from his battery mate, David Whittle. 3-2, bottom of the 6th, right around the corner here on Coast Baseball on the Home Team Network. First arm on the mound for the Ballers bullpen after they go scoreless through the previous 3 offensive tries. The Long Beach Coast have taken a narrow 3-2 lead, and Michael Riley replaces the starter Hunter Day, who has a very respectable line, though he is technically in line for the loss should the lead hold throughout the rest of this game. Bottom of the 6th here at Blair Field. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook from the booth. Michael Riley rocks and fires the first pitch high to Cooper Vest, the Utah native. And Michael Riley out of Scottsdale, Arizona, started his season with the Tri-City Valley Cats in the Frontier League. 3 games played there. And now in his 11th appearance with the Ballers, gets Cooper Vest to foul up the first base line for a 1-1 count. Vest 0 for 2 this afternoon. He was one of the 4 strikeout victims for Hunter Day. 5 innings of work, 4 hits allowed. Got through the first 3 innings without allowing a single hit to these Coast members. But things fell out of sort in the 4th inning when the Coast began to score. Next pitch, foul down the left field line, and it falls just fair of the chalk. Beal watches that fall fair for a bloop single to Cooper Vest to start off this bottom of the 6th.
Well, we've seen Vest working on some of his opposite field power lately. He's definitely more frequently a pull hitter, but he found himself tied up a little inside out there and still worked it down the left field line for a knock.
Now Michael Riley will face off against Bardowell, then Cuba Bass in the on-deck circle. Bardowell 0 for 1 with a walk. One of the 3 walks issued by the starter, Hunter Day. He gets strike 1 called on the fastball there. Worked his way into a very long 7-pitch at-bat, a 3-2 count, a battle of which he won and came around to score one of the 2 runs of their initial 4th inning of offensive production. The next pitch is fouled to the first base side. 0-2 count for Matthew Bardowell, who in his past now 11 at-bats has had 5 hits. Has looked absolutely fantastic since he got the go-ahead home run on Saturday night at Modern Woodman Field against the Modesto Roadsters. Takes a ball outside on the breaker. A 1-2 count. Riley comes set. Stands up tall. The leg kick getting Bardowell to swing atop yet another slider. And that is his first strikeout of this evening. First out recorded here in the bottom of the 6th. Cuba Bess now to the plate, who made the difference with a game-tying double down the right field line, scoring 2 runs back in the 4th. He's 1 for 3, or rather 1 for 2. 7 RBI now in his past 3 games. He takes an off-speed high and outside for ball 1. Both of the balls that have come off of Cuba Bess's bat this afternoon have not been under 106 miles per hour exit velo. Sends this one backwards to the backstop for strike 1. 109 was that pitch that he sent down the right field line, 106 into the glove of Jeter Ibarra, who is currently covering first, holding on the other first baseman, Cooper Vest. Crowd chanting Cuba. The 1-1 outside on the changeup. 2-1 count, and both of these starters, both of these arms that have started for the Ballers have really tried to work that off speed, trying to play with the timing of the Coast batsmen. This one high in the air to the second base bag. Tremaine Cobb under it and makes the grab in the infield dirt for out number 2. Home run in an elevator shaft. It brings up Jacob Jablonski. Jablonski is 0 for 2. And in his last at-bat, he sent one into foul territory to the corner out in left field, where Miles Beal out there, who's still out there in left field, made a fantastic grab, crashing into the wall. Now this one crashed into right center. Back and at the track is Blythe. He goes. See ya. Fly, baby, fly. A Jablonski gets 2 more on the board for the Coast, making it a 5-2 ball game. Jablonski sends his 13th big fly out of the stadium here. Just shy of 400 feet. And that starts off his second half, his second game of his second half, on the 2-out 4-bagger. 106 off of his bat. That continues a now 6-game hit streak in emphatic fashion as well.
And it's his first home run in 2 weeks since playing Oakland on July 1st when he bashed a pair of dingers.
Now Emilio Corona takes the first pitch fastball outside for ball 1. And yes, we know Jablonski has had a lot of success at Raimondi Park against these ballers, but now starting to show it here at Blair Field as well. There is a fastball that Corona can't catch up with. It's a 1-1 count as he swings through that 1-0 pitch. Clear bases and 2 outs. The 1-1 misses low on the changeup. Corona 1 for 1, a single, came across to score the first lead that the Coast still have. A check swing, but Corona goes around for strike 2. On that slider there, and Michael Riley takes a piece of the rosin bag before stepping back on the first base side of the rubber. Shakes off a pitch from Kalura. Now back into the full. The 2-2 bends inside and misses low for ball 3. The payoff pitch. The 3-2 misses low and outside. Corona gets to first. The freeway, based on balls, his second time this afternoon. He's reached all 3 plate appearances safely. Brings up Anthony Mata. 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded out into a double play that cut the 3rd inning short. Now we're here in the 6th with a new look. Anthony Mata, when he got into that double play, his first plate appearance, his first at-bat of the night, that was right after the Ballers took a 2-0 lead. He takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Hunter Day was looking to be the savior for the Ballers, trying to get their first win in 6 games against the Coast. Mata pops up, foul territory. Ibarra says he has it. Makes the grab in foul grounds for out number 3. That leaves Corona stranded, but Jacob Jablonski gets a couple of insurance runs on the first home run for the Coast in the second half here at Blair Field. Actually, the second. It is 5-2 heading into the 7th. Final 3 innings due up, and Jesse Cook will take you through the rest of this Wednesday night game. We'll be right back here on the Coast Media Network.
5-2 Long Beach your score. Entering the top of the 7th inning, new pitcher in the game, Jake Dixon, dealing to the 9-hitter, the righty Miles Beal. First pitch, a sinker that misses low and outside for ball 1. Dixon entering the ball game with that 3-run lead, thanks in large part to Jacob Jablonski and his antics in the bottom of the 6th inning. The switch hitter batting on the right side, knocking it over the right center field wall for a 2-run blast. Dixon kicks high. Beal swings and saws the 1-0 down the right field line in no man's land. Diving after Cooper Vetz, and that's behind the first baseman. Matthew Bardwell picks up and right and throws to second base, where Beal stumbles in with a leadoff double. Well, Oakland needs to pull into some luck, but there Beal pushes it instead, and the leadoff man is aboard for the Ballers. Beal now 2 for 3. The top of the order comes up now. Tying run on deck for an ever-dangerous Oakland lineup. Keep in mind, Oakland, while its bullpen, sure, yeah, they've surrendered the highest number of home runs in the league at 112 now. The Bats have also hit the second highest amount with an even 100 in the Pioneer League. Tremaine Cobb batting on the right side with his neon pink batting gloves. First pitch bounces, 1-0 count. While we were talking about Jablonski's home run, Oakland starting to pull into that vein as well. But it is important to note for the Long Beach second baseman, the last time he homered was a 2-dinger game back here at Blair Field 2 weeks ago to the day against these Ballers. Dixon's next pitch cracked deep to left field. Eddie Pelk waiting on it. That dies in the night sky, and Pelk makes the catch. Wow, that ball looked like it was going places off the bat, but it remains in the ball yard there. 1 away in the top of the 7th. Coast ahead by 3 with a runner on second base.
Well, you saw it from this angle. About a 33-degree exit angle. That's right around where you want to be if you want to send it over the left field wall. But 85 off the bat, that's not going to do it in this night game.
Sure sounded good, though. Crack off the bat, mixing with the ever-present barks here on Wolf Wednesday. Packed ball yard with bipedal and quadruped people as well, the dogs. Asai Santos batting on the left side. First pitch, and he watches the slider dip outside and low for a 1-0 count. Santos has slid his way on board just once today with that walk in the 3rd inning. However, he made it all the way around, stealing second and scoring on a Jaden Kalura double. That accounting for all of Oakland's offense so far, that 2-run double from the catcher. Santos 0 for 2 otherwise. Next pitch, he swings and fends that one off to the left side and out of play. That makes it a 1-1 count. Oakland struck first in this ball game, but it didn't take the Coast very long to respond. A silent bottom of the 3rd. Oakland then goes dormant in the top of the 4th, after which Long Beach cracks in with a 2-run 4th inning, scoring in each of the last 3 frames. Dixon steps off the mound and mimes a throw to second base, instead hanging on to the baseball. The LBC hanging on to that 5-2 lead. 1 out, top 7. Runner in scoring position for Oakland on second base. Dixon with his 5 o'clock shadow nods home, swung on and popped up shallow center field. Emilio Corona racing in, losing his hat in the process, and he winds in and makes the catch. 2 away now after Corona zips in from center.
Are we going to have to lend Emilio Corona a bobby pin or something?
Maybe so. That is a trend for all of Long Beach's outfielders. Eddie Pelk, Matthew Bardwell, Jalen Edmonds, who's out of the lineup today, and Corona. All of them, it appears that their hats are either a size too big or a size too small.
And I was actually talking with Jalen Edmonds about that very subject today.
Jake Allgaier batting on the right side in an open stance. Dixon kicks high, leans back at the high inside sinker.
And he actually got a haircut to see if that would help.
Oh, to see if it would make a difference?
Yeah.
Well, it looked good. I chatted with Jalen during BP as well, and he just keeps talking about how thankful he is to be playing pro baseball, which is such a fantastic attitude. Dixon's 1-0. Waves high and outside. Moves the count to 2-0 as the sinker misses at 88 miles per hour. Allgaier in this one, 0 for 1. Last time up, he hit the ball hard, tattooing it to short, but Anthony Mata was waiting right there for the atom ball. Allgaier walked on 9 pitches twice in this game to lead off his evening in the 1st and the 3rd. Dixon rears back. Sinker for a strike high and away. 2-1 count. Taking a gregarious lead off of second base is Miles Beal. He keeps hopping up further and further down the baseline towards the hot corner. Jacob Jablonski chatting with him at the Keystone base as those two go back and forth. Beal with those socks pulled up to the knees takes a big lead. Next pitch. Called a strike, low and away, immediately challenged by Allgaier. And the batter is right on this one. 3-1 count. Confirmed, rather the call overturned by public address announcer August McAdoo, confirming Allgaier's suspicions. 5-2 Coast, top of the seventh, 2 away, runner on second base, and a hitter's count at 3-1 for Allgaier. Dixon settles in, pale glove at the letters, takes a heavy breath, turns home, missing low and outside for ball 4. So the Bees push runners on to first and second for Jaden Kalura, who already did his damage with that double in the third. However, Kalura will have to be content with his 2-bagger from earlier with a pinch hitter trotting up here. Demias Jimerson, who appeared in last night's game. Jimerson in the 9th inning came in and slugged a single to left field. Wearing number 7, wearing a white sleeve down his right arm and a Barron left arm with ivory batting gloves as well. Lefty pitches to righty, and Jimerson watches the heater for a strike at the knees. That pitch challenged by Jimerson, however, the ABS strike zone system confirms the call. Jimerson, across his 21 starts, 24 total games played, is batting all the way up at an incredible 429. In a short sample size, just 91 at-bats, he's slugged 5 home runs. Out of the stretch. He cuts and pelts that one to the right side, foul. 0-2 count. Jimerson starting the year in Billings before being traded to Oakland for a player to be named later on July 6th, now July 15th, the date today. 0-2, he swipes and misses up high. Dixon lets Oakland threaten, but doesn't back down. Still 5-2 Long Beach as we move on to stretch time. After that, it's 9-1-2 for the Coast on the Home Team Network. After stretch time here on Wolf Wednesday, the Long Beach Coast batting with a 5-2 lead enter the bottom of the 7th inning, bringing up David Whittle after recording his second professional hit last time, up an RBI single in the 5th. that granted the LBC the lead. It's still the right-handed reliever Michael Riley on the bump for his second inning of work. He winds home. Whittle watches high and away as the fastball misses at 87 miles per hour. Due up next at the top of the order, and Eddie Pelk, followed by Dylan Lena. Pelk has been a tough man to stop today. 1 for 2, last time out, just lining out to right field. Next pitch, Whittle swings and cracks it deep to left field, waiting on it. Beal in front of the warning track. He's got time, and he makes the catch. Make sure to check your pacemaker anytime David Whittle hits the ball to left field, because the second time he hit a fly that direction, it was his first plate appearance as a professional, and it went for a grand slam.
And he didn't even think it was going to leave the yard.
Well, Whittle, after his suspicions are confirmed on that one, heads back to the dugout, 1 away for the lefty Eddie Pelk. Out of the windup, he watches the breaking ball dance low for ball 1. Correction called strike, low in the zone. Out of the windup, swinging a high fly ball, shanked foul to the right side. That one lands on top of the Troy Tulowitzki batting cage, making it a 1-1 count. And Pelk, as if the crack wasn't proof enough, shatters his bat there with a split down the middle. After assistant coach H.A. Crapo hands him a new piece of lumber, Pelk makes his way back to the dish. He walked in the first inning for the 72nd time this season. This is game number 50, putting him at 5th all-time in free passes in the Pioneer League for a season. The seasons, by the way, last 96 games. He's got plenty of time to catch the lead spot. 0-2 bounces to make it a 1-2 count.
And
Pelk 14 away from Evan Scavato's mark of 86 last year with the Grand Junction Jackalopes.
I know we talk a lot about his walks, but he only has 2 hit by pitches this year.
1-2 misses inside and low, 2-2 count. So what are you saying, that he's too nice? He doesn't enrage the pitchers enough to throw at him?
Well, what I'm saying
is a nice guy.
When you talk about free passes, when you have that big of a number, you'd expect a little higher of a number on the other side, given how many hit by pitches this Coast offense has. 2-2
popped up, third base side. The hot corner Stewards men, Allgaier waiting for it, makes the basket catch. 2 away in the bottom of the 7th inning, 5-2 Long Beach. And waiting on deck is a man who has been hit by a number of pitches, Cooper Vest. But coming up now is Dylan Lena. Vest, with 18, is 10 away from the Pioneer League record for a season. Dylan Lena is trying to erase a different kind of record, as he has struggled lately. 0 for his last 18, 0 for 3 today for the Long Beach State product. Righty affair, highlight kick. He watches the curveball down below the knees, 1-0 count. Joey, I have to say I'm impressed by our audience. A bunch of well-behaved dogs here on Wolf Wednesday. Bark in the park. 1-0. Swung on, dribbled to third, waiting on it, Allgaier, gloves, hurls, got him. 1-2-3, go Long Beach in the bottom of the 7th inning, but still holding that 3-run lead as we move on to the top of the 8th. The difficult part of the order coming up for Oakland, 5, 6, and 7, Ibarra, Blythe, and Winland when we return on the Home Team Network. Top of the 8th inning on the docket with the Long Beach Coast leading 5-2 and heading out to play the field as the Oakland Ballers trot back up. Dieter Ibarra has been a fearsome bat, and the Coast have really personified that, pitching around him with an intentional walk in the 3rd and a 6-pitch walk last time up in the 6th. Lefty-lefty affair. Jake Dixon rears back and fires home the sinker, dropping downstairs for ball 1. Ibarra has reached base in every plate appearance today. He singled back in the 2nd inning to start off his game, and that led off the 2nd as well. Dixon rears back. Slider misses across the plate, 2-0 count. Dixon struggled to begin the 7th inning, but rebounded very well. He allowed a Miles Beal bloop hit double down the right field line, but then rebounded, shutting out the rest of the inning. His 2-0. Swung on and popped up. Third base side and foul. Dylan Lena in pursuit, losing his hat, headed for the warning track. He tries to make the catch, diving against the fence, but that bounces by off of the barrier between the wall and the netting. 2-1 count. Lena, who knows this yard very well, having played the last 2 seasons at Long Beach State, the Dirtbags who have occupied this Blair Field since 1993, went feeling for the fence at the right time, tracking that ball in the rather deep foul area. Dixon resettles. Tan glove at his shoulders, looking for the signal, dangling his left arm back by his waist. Dixon retiring 3 of the last 4 batters he saw. And then the only person to reach base did so on a walk. That was Jake Allgaier. High leg kick. Swung on and fouled off to the left side once again. So that moves the count to even at 2-2 for Ibarra. The San Jose native at the plate, who played his last college season at Michigan, digs in at the back of the lefty box in an even stance. Dixon reaches back, swing and a miss. Ibarra retired by way of the K for the 3rd time this series, and he ends up chasing the heater by his shoulders.
And coming into this series, he had only struck out against Long Beach 7 times. So the fact that he is a third of, or rather almost half of the way there for doubling that from what he has already done against the Coast all season is quite crazy.
That's 7 total across 12 games, 3 in the latest 2. Noah Blythe batting on the right side. First pitch, copy and paste as he swings and misses at 1 up high. 0-1 count. And Blythe has put together a productive game as well at 1 for 3, singling last time up in the 6th inning. He ended up stranded on base, Oakland only scoring in that 3rd inning, thanks to the Jaden Kalura 2-run double. Next pitch misses high and outside. 1-1 count. Blythe settles in a similar stance to Ibarra, is just flipped to the right side. Even at the back of the box, hunched at the waist. Next pitch lands at the knees for a strike on the sinker. 1-2 count. Dixon deals a 4-seam fastball, a sinker, changeup, slider, and curveball. And we talked about it with him and Zach Volker that it's uncommon for late-inning relievers to deal so many pitches in their same rotation. This next one fouled to the backstop by Blythe, keeping himself afloat at 1-2. And Volker alluded to the fact that Mason Miller has a somewhat diverse arsenal, the Padres closer, and he really admires that about him. Zach Volker, by the way, warming up in the right field Jared Weaver bullpen. And Dixon nodded along in agreement with that sentiment. This was a couple weeks ago we had this conversation. 1-2, lunged at and fouled to the right side. Blythe once again keeping himself alive. Dixon's 5 o'clock shadow looking down at the ground underneath the LEDs in a pitch black clear night in Long Beach. An ocean breeze starting to blow in after it was dormant earlier. 1-2, swung on and bounced out to second. Jablonski picks up the skipper, turns on to first for the out. 2 away in the top of the 8th inning, 5-2 Long Beach. That brings up 0 for 3 Paul Winland. He remains the only former coaster to play against his old team. Winland started the year as a part of the inaugural roster for Long Beach, but then ended up being released, signing with Oakland. However, he has been released from this game, at least for the time being, as there is a pinch hitter for the Ballers. That is Brendan O'Sullivan making his first appearance of this series. O'Sullivan pieced together a couple extra base hits in the last series against Long Beach at the beginning of this month of July. And Winland is the designated hitter. First pitch lands inside for a strike at the knees. 0-1 count for O'Sullivan. 3-run Long Beach lead. Top of the 8th inning, bases empty, 2 away. In the Pioneer League, if you are replaced offensively, you can return to the game. So we may see Winland again. Next pitch, he swings and misses. Chasing after the changeup, high and away. 0-2 count. Joey, you got to talk with Paul and reconnect with him before the ball game. How is he doing?
Well, he's feeling great. I think he's found a bit more of a role with this team rather than the Coast at the start of the year, where he just had heavy hitters like Thomas McCaffrey and Eddie Pelk.
The 0-2 misses inside over the shoelaces to O'Sullivan.
You know, they say too much of a good thing. I think that was the problem for Troy Percival, that he had having to send Paul Winland to Oakland.
1-2. Watches as the heater misses high and away. 2-2 count. And Winland has thrived with Oakland, batting .275. But Brendan O'Sullivan enters this at bat with a .289 mark across his now 20 appearances for the Ballers. O'Sullivan waving that Auburn bat behind his head. 2-2 pitch. He swings and keeps himself alive, fouling it off into the right side parking lot. Well, I guess it's not a parking lot. It's straight parking out there. But on Park Avenue, I guess that's par for the course.
In Long Beach, everything's a parking lot.
Yeah, we occasionally see some interesting parking ideas from the locals around here.
Middle of the street.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Parking in the turn lane. 2-2, laced up the middle into center field on the ground, and Brendan O'Sullivan continues the trend of tactful pinch hitting for Oakland. Last night, after Paul Winland and Demias Jimerson, both pinch hit in the 9th inning with singles, here comes Brendan O'Sullivan doing the same. Well, pinch hitting for Winland, of all people. And that appears to be it for Dixon, as here comes manager Troy Percival. Zach Volker ceases his operations out in right field and throws his glove back onto his left hand. Walking towards the door, but he's still hanging up out there, so maybe Dixon has been granted a new lease. No. Here comes Volker and Q War Pigs. We'll take a break here on the Home Team Network. Blair and Ozzy Osbourne throughout the ballpark as War Pigs serenade Zach Volker into the game for Long Beach with a 5-2 lead. A save situation for the right-hander, trying for his 10th of the year. He would be the first in the Pioneer League to do so. Two-way in the top of the 8th inning. Volker for Long Beach pitching to the right-handed Nick Leahy for Oakland with a runner on first. Volker relieving the lefty Jake Dixon. He throws over to first. Diving back in safely is Brendan O'Sullivan, the pinch hitter for the Ballers, who recorded a hit in that at-bat, combining with Tobias Jimerson and Paul Winland to make the pinch hitters for Oakland in this weekday series 3 for 4, all in the late innings. Volker takes a heavy breath. Now his first pitch swung on and fouled off to the right side. 0-1 count. Volker walking into this one with the best opponent batting average on the team at .207. His ERA has climbed a bit to .466. He's blown his last 2 save opportunities against Modesto and Yuba Sutter last week. But 9 saves still leads the PBL. The right-hander takes a heavy breath once again, kicks high, and that's fired to the backstop foul. Leahy facing the aggressive Volker there, punching that to the backstop. Volker faced Oakland just once in the last time that the Ballers and the Coast met up, end of June, beginning of July, and Volker walked away with the win in 2 innings of relief, allowing 1 run, but striking out 2. June 30th, that game, kicking off that series. 0-2 out of the stretch, misses high and outside. 1-2 count. Volker dialing up the heat to 94 miles per hour there. 2 away, top 8, 5-2 Coast, runner on first for Oakland. Volker settles in, pitching from the third base side. He nods, toes the rubber a couple times in that closed off stance. Rears back, swing and a miss. All right, welcome to the ball game. Zach Volker, how you doing? Shuts the door, and on cue, organist Jeff Liffman plays War Pigs intro. The outro for Volker headed back to the dugout as we move on to the bottom of the 8th inning. 5-2 Coast and what could be their last time at the plate on the Home Team Network. Bottom of the 8th inning on the way, and Long Beach with a 5-2 Coast lead. And guess who's coming up but the LBC. The Oakland Ballers on defense here. It's the 3rd inning of relief for the right-hander Michael Riley, facing the left-handed power bat of Cooper Vest, followed by Matthew Bardowell and Cuba Bess. Lefty, righty, lefty for Long Beach here. Riley winds and fires. Vest bends with the fastball up above the belt. Called a strike. 0-1 count. Vest so far today, 1 for 3, singling the opposite way last time up to left field. 0-1, he cuts over top of the breaking ball for an 0-2 count. The BYU product this season has slugged 9 home runs. The only problem for Blair Field is that all of them have been outside the friendly confines, so not here in Long Beach. 0-2, He swings and misses, but the ball escapes to the backstop. Vest burning for first, and there's no chance. Cooper Vest makes it aboard on a drop third strike. Catcher Jaden Kalura sent scrambling to the backstop for that one. Head on a swivel. Cooper Vest forces his way aboard. Kalura, wearing his hockey mask behind the plate, grabbed that one to look up to even find the baseball as it dropped between his legs. That is his first passed ball of the game. And it brings up another powerful slugger in Matthew Bardowell. First pitch to the righty. He checks his swing up high for ball one. The 6'4", 245-pound slugger at the plate. Bardowell bending in here. 1-0. He swings and tears that one straight up the gut into center field. Best takes a big curve around second, but holds up there. So Bardowell, who this season has crushed 10 home runs, ends up hitting into a no-out single there to move Vest up on the bases. And it brings up Cuba Bess. Nobody out, bottom of the eighth inning, 5-2 Long Beach. Cuba Bess, who already cracked that double back in the fourth inning to put Long Beach on the board and tie the game up at 2-2. Stands back in an open stance on the left side. Highlight kick. Fastball misses downstairs and away. 1-0 count. The Long Beach cheering section giving Cuba Bess his props. Runners on first and second, nobody out, the 1-0. He swings and rockets this one down the right field line, rolling into the corner. Easy for Vest to score from second. Bardowell on his tail, stopping at third. Cuba Bess with his second double of the game adds his third RBI, and it's 6-2 Long Beach on the two-bagger. Nobody out here in the bottom of the eighth inning. Long Beach still doing damage, and the eighth inning has been the best frame for the LBC this season, the biggest for offense by far. 72 runs for, only 30 runs against. That is the best run differential, and it appears that the Ballers know it. Pitching coach Jim Diedrich taking a trip to talk to his arm. Diedrich, a 1995 pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. We talked about him yesterday. Pitched only 6 games in the majors, but left with a not too shabby 2.35 ERA in that small sample size. Not a bad person to talk down a pitcher, Mike Riley. He settles in with his infield gathering around at the corners of the grass, but his catcher and shortstop Tremaine Cobb joining him out there. Riley, a product of CSU Bakersfield, 24 years old, who made his Ballers debut back on May 26th. After starting the year with the Frontier League's Tri-City Valley Cats. This is his first professional season, though, combined between the Frontier League and the Pioneer League. That brings up Jacob Jablonski, who sent the ball a country mile last time up and may have left the city limits of Long Beach. A 2-run homer. Infield in, first pitch. He swings and fouls that off to the right side. Jablonski batting as a lefty. The switch hitter is 1 for 3 with that dinger. Runners on second and third for Long Beach. Wolf Wednesday, dogs in the ballpark, barking for the team with a 6-2 lead and nobody out in the bottom of the eighth. Righty pitches to lefty and bounces that curveball down in the coal mine for a 1-1 count. That homer for Jablonski, his 13th on the year, nodding up Cuba Bess for second on the team behind Emilio Corona's 14. That 14th played a crucial role yesterday, the game-winning drive. Next pitch winds outside for ball 2. 2-1 count after the breaking ball misses at 80 miles per hour. Corona yesterday gifted the Coast the lead in a 4-run fifth inning to surge from behind, and they never relinquished that advantage. Next pitch sails high and outside. Riley losing control of his curve. 3-1 count. Jablonski's homer earlier merely adding to the Long Beach advantage with an insurance couple of runs. And he ends up being sent to first base for free. An intentional walk after the count falls out of hand for Riley. Bases loaded for Emilio Corona. He has not been retired in this game. A pair of outs and a hard single to right field back in the 5th inning. After his home run yesterday, which ended up being just 2 of his 3 RBIs, is this really who you want to load the bases for? Riley sets, kicks high. Corona swings and makes him pay immediately, knocking that into right field. Bardwell scores from third. Everybody else heading station to station. 7-2 Long Beach. Asking ye shall receive. They wanted to force in any base. The Ballers get it, and Emilio Corona punishes him.
Just seems like a foolish move there.
Perhaps. Force hit any base is a big risk. Manager Aaron Miles shakes his head, stepping over the foul line, as that is it for Riley. Fails to record an out in his 3rd inning of relief, but deals 2 solid innings, only allowing 2 runs before that. We'll update you on the new arm, a right-hander entering the game for Oakland. But Long Beach has broken this open to a 7-2 advantage here on the Home Team Network. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Back in action in Long Beach, and the Coast are threatening to advance their already large 5-run lead with the bases loaded now in the bottom of the 8th inning, and still a big fat 0 in the out column. New pitcher in the game for Oakland, Brady Chavez, relieves Michael Riley after he deals 2 innings and then fails to record an out in his 3rd frame of relief. Infield in a righty-righty affair. Anthony Mata searching for his first hit on the day. First pitch, he swings, sends that the opposite way into shallow right for a knock. That brings home a run, and Cuba Best from third, station to station. It's now 8-2 Long Beach.
And man, for Anthony Mata, that is now 7 straight starts where he's gotten an RBI at some point on the night.
Mata also powering through for a 4-game hit streak. That brings up David Whittle. So if Anthony Mata has been on a good run, David Whittle is in the process of starting one because both of his professional hits have produced RBIs. A grand slam in his first plate appearance last week, and now he's 1 for 3 today. First pitch, a fastball right down the middle for an 0-1 count. Brady Chavez entering this game with an ERA of 10.50, allowing just about 3 base runners per inning he's pitched so far, but this is only his 5th appearance for Oakland. He rears back, dances that breaking ball high and away for a ball. 1-1 count. Chavez appeared against Long Beach for his 2nd outing of the season, and he allowed 5 runs on 5 hits in just 1 inning of work. He kicks high. Whittle swings and misses over the slider. That moves it to a 1-2 count. The situation right now, bases loaded with Jacob Jablonski on third, Emilio Corona on second, Anthony Mata on first. Corona and Mata both boarding on RBI singles. Jablonski an intentional walk. Out of the stretch. Hesitant swing and a full miss from Whittle there for the first out of the inning. Top of the order coming up now, and Eddie Pelk. Last time up he popped out, but definitely sent a shudder through Oakland through his first 3 plate appearances. A walk to lead off the home half of the game, a single to right field in the fourth, and a very hard smash into right field that was an atom ball for Noah Blythe out there for the first time he was retired. Righty pitches to lefty. Pelk swings, lines that one the opposite way, and almost knocks off Jacob Jablonski's head as he twists out of the way. And that game of twister ends up positive for Jablonski as he points down the line and tells Pelk, maybe straighten it out next time. The Mississippi native off the hot corner appears to be okay, but maybe with a closer shave than the one that he left with this morning.
Jablonski signed up for baseball, not dodgeball.
0-1, he swings. Cuts that one to short, flip to second for one, the turn to first in time. Long Beach adds 3 runs, but Oakland ends the frame, turning its third double play of the ball game. Nevertheless, we move on to the 9th inning with a 6-run advantage for the LBC and the closer, Zach Volker, heading back out there, seeking his 10th save of the season on the Home Team Network. Cruising into the 9th inning, Long Beach trying to coast to victory. The coast ahead, 8-2, entering the top of the 9th, and heading out to the field to play defense, Zach Volker. In his 2nd inning of relief, searching for his Pioneer League best 10th save, facing Miles Beal, then the top of the order, and Tremaine Cobb and Isai Santos. Righty pitching to a lefty. Volker entered the game with a 3-run lead, but his offense gave him a cushion. First pitch. Fastball for a strike, blown away at 92 miles per hour. Jesse Cook with you on the mic. Joey Miller to my right. The Long Beach Bats tacking on 3 runs on 4 hits in the bottom of the 8th inning. The first of which came because Cooper Vets capitalized on a miscue, a drop third strike. Next pitch, battered into center field in front of Emilio Corona. So while Oakland has a mountain to climb, it starts with a good step on a leadoff single from Miles Beal, who has pieced together an excellent game in the 9th spot at 3 for 4.
And this is after going hitless in his past 5 games. He was 0 for 7 heading into his first hit of the night in the 4th.
Well, what is it Luke Combs says? When it rains, it pours. Miles Beal taking that mantra to heart. That country song brings up Tremaine Cobb at the top of the order. He's 1 for 4 in this game, singling to left field back in the 5th. Righty-righty affair. Cobb's highlighter pink, batting gloves and arm sleeves showing up bright on the field. Volker throws over to first, no movement from Beal. This game kicked off at 6:35 Pacific time. Tomorrow's will as well to wrap up this weekday series. Gates open at 5:35 p.m. here at Blair Field. Volker rears back. Bends the slider high and inside. It caused Cobb to buckle. And while that would not end up hitting him, it does miss inside. 1-0 count. Keep in mind, coverage for tomorrow's game kicks off, blasts off at the same time it normally does, 20 minutes before first pitch. So catch us on the Beach Ball pregame report at 6:15. 1-0. Swung on and blasted deep to center field. Emilio Corona in pursuit, waiting on the warning track, and he's got room, making the catch in the deepest part of the yard. That's twice that Tremaine Cobb has made home run sounds with barrel on baseball, but has left a little to be desired for the visiting crew.
A little too close for comfort after Volker in his last couple of outings. He did blow a save, two saves actually.
Against Modesto and Yuba Sutter.
So Percival trying to put his trust back in his very mighty closer.
Volker crouches on the mound. Now deals to a lefty in Santos, who's 0 for 3 in this ball game. Whips on home. Fires in for a strike at the knees on the fastball. Volker, before his blown save against Yuba Sutter on July 8th, enjoyed 3 consecutive outings without an earned run allowed. Trying to find his stride once again. He whirls to the plate. Swung on and fouled to the backstop. 0-2 count. Here on Woof Wednesday, the dogs here in the ballpark join in with the howling sound effect. Oakland trying to win this series. If they want to do so, they have to win both tonight and tomorrow. Perhaps barking up the wrong tree. 0-2 pitch. Zips high and inside past the hands. 1-2 count. If Long Beach walks away victorious tonight, well, that clinches the first series of the second half of the season. The Coast already clinching home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, finishing the first half as the number 1 team. Volker's next fire misses low and outside, and he winces after landing there. Perhaps just a reaction to his release point. 2-2 count for Santos. Cool breeze rolling in from center field. That's built up off the ocean as the game has gone on. 2-2 pitch. Breezed by Santos, who swipes and misses at the high and outside fastball. Volker's first strikeout brings Oakland to its final out. Jake Allgaier, the only person standing in the way of a series loss for the Ballers. Should Long Beach leave victorious tonight, that will be 13 series wins on the season, only 2 losses. Now, these Ballers were the first team to hand Long Beach a series loss. That came in the second week of the season up at Raimondi Park in Oakland. Righty pitches to lefty. Breaking ball misses downstairs, 1-0. Volker bends down on the bump and resets. Runner on first, 8-2 Long Beach. 2-away, top of the 9th inning. Volker from the stretch. Slider lands for a strike right down 2nd Street. 1-1 count. Volker readies one more time. Tan glove perched just beneath the belt buckle. Stares at the third base dugout in contemplation. Reaches on home. High and inside on the fastball that misses at 93 miles per hour. And that pitch has been challenged by catcher David Whittle. And after review, according to public address announcer August McAdoo, that pitch has been overturned to a strike. So Oakland down to its final tally. Zach Volker, 1 strike from victory. The tarps off section behind home plate, waving their shirts as rally towels. The dogs joining in on the sirens here. Zach Volker going for his 10th save. 8-2 Long Beach, 2-away, top 9. Runner on first. He whirls on home. Fastball up by the eyes, 2-2 count. The LEDs at Blair Field illuminating Long Beach's bid for its 6th consecutive victory. And in the head-to-head series against Oakland, that would be 7 straight. 2-2. Swung on and chipped foul to the right side. Count remains at 2-2. Flashbacks for Volker in both of his blown saves. He brought the opponent down to the final strike before the batter ended up fencing away a couple of those pitches and extending the inning. Now he sets again. Waving away the 2-2. Swung on and tapped to the backstop. Well, that was an ankle scraper down by the dirt, but Allgaier kept himself alive with his golf swing. Volker stares daggers at the plate. Turns on again. 2 away. His 2-2. Swing and a miss. 10 saves for Zach Volker. And the Long Beach Coast have won their first series of the second half with an 8-2 clincher here on Wednesday night. First in the Pioneer League to double figures in the save line. Zach Volker shuts the door on the Oakland Ballers. The defending champs of last season, who ended up with a record-setting first half at 37-11, have been matched by Long Beach in its inaugural season, ending the first 48 the same way. And give them 2 more, because in game number 50, Long Beach has win number 39. We'll be back in just a moment to recap more from this stellar outing for the Long Beach offense, mounting up 8 runs, and the pitching staff limiting Oakland to 2, and our beach ball post-game report coming right up. We'll talk about Zach Volker, Jacob Jablonski's home run, and a lot more that could head into the series finale tomorrow. First 2 games of 12 at home to open up the second half, and we'll have more on that in just a moment on the Home Team Network. Swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. Zach Volker earns his 10th save with 3 strikeouts out of the pen. One of those in the 8th inning, back when it was only a 3-run lead for the Coast. But Long Beach walks away victorious with that 8-2 finish, thanks to a big bash in the 8th inning. 3 runs coming home. The biggest bash of them all, though, the home run from Jacob Jablonski, ended up setting up the Coast for success with a couple insurance runs in the 6th inning. That was after catcher David Whittle ultimately handed the LBC the lead that would carry it to fruition. Whittle's second professional hit, second time bringing home runs after his grand slam in his first plate appearance last week. But that made it a 3-2 ball game. Cuba Bess leaving with 3 RBIs. He marshaled home the first couple of runs with a double in the 4th inning, then added on in the 8th, followed up by an RBI single from Emilio Corona and another from Anthony Mata. Zach Volker's 10th save. He's the first in the Pioneer League to double figures. Cole Percival earned his first win in the Pioneer League. 5-year minor leaguer, and a few different systems with the Yankees, Diamondbacks, Twins, Dodgers, and I'm forgetting one more, but also the Angels. So Percival walking away with a 1-0 record. He has a couple saves to his name, but the coach's son started off the day with 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, the only 2 Oakland scored, 4 hits, struck out 3. Jonathan Kozowski walking in there for his first professional appearance after that, throwing a scoreless 6th inning, allowing 1 hit, striking out 1, and Jake Dixon handling the next inning in 2/3. Jesse Cook with you next to Joey Miller. That's an extended way of taking us into this beach ball postgame report. But Joey, now Long Beach has its first series win of the second half, undefeated in the second half. Through 50 games, they've mounted a 39-win mark, which is staggering considering that they could wind up on pace for the best win total in Pioneer League history, besting Oakland's already unbelievable mark of 73 last year. Now, Long Beach can try for its first sweep in the latter 48.
And that's series number 13 that they take of their initial 15 on the season. Only 2 losses, including their very first series loss. That was back in Oakland, but they were a much different ball club. I think there's a lot more cohesion. They've been through a couple more road trips. The month of June was fantastic offensively for this new look. Some bright sides to tonight. We saw the professional debut of Jonathan Kozowski, and he looked quite nice from the mound, facing off against 5 batters, getting his first professional strikeout.
Joey, he hit 96 miles per hour on his fastball. This is a guy whose last competitive game came more than a year ago in college at D2 Point Loma Nazarene University.
And he stepped in. He was ready for it right away today. And I know that, Jerome Williams, Troy Percival can get him to an even more elevated level so that he can continue to perform throughout the rest of this second half. For the Ballers, they had a lot of opportunities. They left 10 aboard tonight, only scoring in that 1 inning back in the 3rd. Both of the runs that came across the plate were off of Cole Percival, who still had a fantastic second start in a Coast uniform, only allowing 4 hits in the process of 5 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks is something he's going to need to work on, albeit one of them was intentional, so I'll give him a pass there. But Percival does what Percival does, like father, like son, getting through a couple of quick frames. Maybe this time the young Percival is going to be doing that at the beginning of the game rather than the back end of the game, as his father once did with the Angels. But what I'm looking at right now, Hunter Day was dominant through the first 3, and we talked about it in the Beach Ball pregame show, how much the Coast have been struggling to get across a run in those first 3 innings. They did it a little earlier this time. 5 runs, consistently scoring from the 1st to the 6th. And then that little bonus that they got in the bottom of the 8th is what kind of pushed them over the top, giving Volker the comfort that he needs to come off of those 2 blown saves, get his 10th, and now he is the first in the Pioneer League to double-digit saves. And I should mention also, last year in the Pioneer League, only 4 pitchers got double-digit saves, including the one that took the all-time Pioneer League record. That was Connor Sullivan. Called him the Slim Reaper. 19 saves for the Oakland Ballers in their championship year. Reese Miller, Nick Cardinal, who we saw here when he was with the Modesto Roadsters. He has since been cut this year. And then Hunter Bryan with the Rocky Mountain Vibes. But those guys did it in over 40 appearances. Zach Volker, he needed just a little beyond the second half. Zach Volker needed just 26 appearances, so right around half of that to get 10 saves. A really impressive start for Volker, and a nice series win, and now they're going to go for the sweep.
Tomorrow, that game heading into action at 6:35 p.m. Gates open here at Blair Field at 5:35, and the Beach Ball pregame report rolls into action at 6:15. And if you do have any plans for making it out to a baseball game tomorrow, well, I think tomorrow is a perfectly fine day to do that. Thursday, July 16th, it's 5-6-2 somewhere night. Essentially a Margaritaville night. Play on, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you make it to the ballpark, you can look up into the press box and see something that, sure, you might see every Sunday, but it's even more special because it's Thursday night. Jesse Cook, Joey Miller, and the entire press box wearing Hawaiian shirts. Now, I wish this night would have happened after the series in Ogden, because back in my storage locker in Utah, I have an absolutely ridiculous piece of attire, Joey. It is something I picked up in the Frontier League with the Florence Yalls, a parrot hat, a hat shaped like a parrot. It would have been so perfect for tomorrow. I am crying that I cannot bring it because it is a good 11-hour drive away. And if I started driving even right now, I would probably be late for first pitch to make it back. But make sure you're not late. We'd love to see you out here tomorrow. And in case you can't make it, we hope you stick with us once again here with Coast Baseball on the Home Team Network. We're going to sign off for now after the Coast win their 39th game, moving up to a .780 winning percentage. Ridiculous for the Coast. That is the best winning percentage to this point in any Pioneer League, MLB Partner League era season ever. Well, I'll step aside. Jesse Cook with you. Joey Miller, we'll have you back tomorrow with our team reporter, our friend Nina Corral. And as we sign off, we say goodnight.